Hello, welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Stanton.
Hey, it works.
If you
This
were
is
not
take
watching
two.
this live, this is take two, where the last time I pressed the red button that says record, we've lost everything.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy
there was a flicker.
that's
God.
okay. That's okay.
Okay.
It was a controlled flicker. It's fine. Okay, so we had to restart everything, and now it works. I hope everyone's having a good day. The end of a week, getting ready for the new one. We got a lot of stuff happening, kind of, throughout the week. We had Mr. Chris Roberts and Sandy Gardner sitting in front of the camera and talking about Star Citizen and their private life, sort of, with kids and wheelchairs.
Wheelchairs.
Yeah,
I remember that.
She said, well, people should watch it, really. But like when she said, "Did you want to say 15 years?" and he was like,
Oh yes,
and then she
yeah,
was like,
right.
when
Okay, I
kids
do
are
remember that.
getting old and
Yeah.
I'm in the wheelchair, and I
Yeah.
was like, wheelchair?
That was a good dig, man. That was a good dig.
But yeah, before we start, as a new semi-rule, kind of, I'm just gonna lay down what we're gonna talk about throughout this show. So the first one, as always, is what we did, in game or not in game, because we don't really play much
Just throughout the week. Yeah.
throughout the last week. And then we have news where we're gonna touch on Chris and Sandy a little bit with that show. Then calling all dev.
Yeah. Calling all dev.
We're gonna touch on a little bit of like a couple other things that are happening around. I'm not gonna go into details. That's so it's just like news section. Then we have, instead of one big topic, we're gonna touch on three smaller topics, unless
We'll
one of
see.
these explodes.
Yeah.
Like if one of these explodes, we might cut on the others and like have them next week. But the plan is, how can the co-pilot be fun and engaging? The other one is, how important is bad logging for gameplay? And the third one is, will clouds actually bring any PvP changes in the PU for those who are like, PvP? And then we have Imagination Station. It's a carryover from a couple of episodes ago, I think, which is professions. And then we have Masos Zero Effort, which will be about heat.
Yep.
And if there's people
I know
who are
that's
listening
really
live-
general. But like specifically the heat this time is not going to be focused necessarily on how ships dissipate heat. It's more so going to be focused on, heat with respect to planets and space stations and stuff like that, which is I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah,
I don't
it's
know
just
anything
something-
about it, so I'm gonna learn something again.
Yeah. specifically with some place like ArcCorp, I'll put it that way, like a
Nice.
whole city
Oh
planet.
my god,
And
okay.
Yeah.
And then in the end, for those who are watching live, we will go over questions and answers, and if we have any in the end. All right, there we go. So what did we do this last week? You wanna
I
start?
survived a heat wave.
Oh
Which,
yes,
yeah. Yeah, which we kind of talked a bit about in the in last gossip, because we were just starting to come out of it then. But we had a jet stream shifted right over top of the island where I live, and basically just trapped heat. And we went literally up like 10 degrees Celsius overnight. Like, yeah, crazy.
It feels like it's happening everywhere. It's funny you're gonna be talking about heat, and like the heat is just,
Yeah, and we don't even have ships with plasma engines flooding in and out of our planet.
yeah.
But yeah, no, Star Citizen, I didn't really play anything this week, but I will say that the Steam summer sale, man, like that really got me this year. It doesn't usually, because I'm usually like kind of I usually pick up a game and I focus on a game for a while, but I just kind of went nuts, and there was a whole bunch of 75% off stuff that I picked up. So I just started playing Jedi Fallen Order, because that was on 75% off.
No, it was
and I
definitely
gotta say,
because Morphologist made a video about it.
unfortunately, I didn't even watch that video because I'm not really interested in the architecture. But yeah, really, really great story-driven game so far. I'm only a couple hours in, but like they managed to even make the like, you're a noob, learn how to play the game
Fun.
pretty fun and epic and really exciting, which is like that's good games crafting
I
right
mean,
there, I think.
I like sci-fi, but I'm not like a huge fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I used to be, and then Disney happened, and I just dropped out of it, kind of. But when I think about like a good RPG, and all like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 is like some of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, this
honestly.
definitely isn't an RPG.
I
Like,
don't know, but
it's an
they
action
can
game
make a
with...
really good game. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
surprised that the game, and
Yeah.
it looks fucking amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it
Looks
does.
great.
Yeah, like, playing it with even just with an RTX 2070. Well, just with an RTX 2070. Like, it's just like you just crank the graphics on it, and it's just I'm probably just too used to the Star Citizen thing, where it's like even with a 2070 and a 3800X 64 gigs of RAM, you're like lucky to hit 60 FPS. And now it's like, playing Jedi Fallen Order and fully maxed out and still hitting like 144 FPS. It's just like, oh wow.
If I'm not wrong,
wow.
the game actually came out thereabouts when 20 series came out, right?
I don't remember.
I mean, it's not like a
Anyways,
brand new game.
yeah. It's really fun so far. So I'm excited about playing that one. Still kind of playing Stellaris in the background. Picked up some of the expansions because they were on sale as well.
Nice.
Which is fun. And then just a bunch of other stuff. Like I picked up Doom Eternal because that was on 75% off. Some city builder games because my partner and I like to play those together. So picked up like Surviving Mars and Planet Coaster and stuff like that. But so that was pretty fun.
You got Absu.
And Absu, yes, because that was on 50%. I don't know, it was $10. It was $10 Canadian, which is like that's a good price for that game, and that looks beautiful. So yeah,
if you play with another person, which in your case you're gonna do it, it's literally like 2-3 hours. Like it's either that or going to like cinema, whatever, movies.
I'm gonna play that one downstairs on
TV,
my TV at 4K. I think.
You know what I would say? Let her play.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
it's very easy to pick up. There's no mistakes.
Yeah. She plays tons of games, so it's like when I say it'd literally be kind of like us down there, but and then other than that, I've started doing a like technical analysis course, so that's honestly kind of cut into my game time, like on purpose. I've decided that I'm kind of devoting 2 nights a week to do like this course that teaches you how to read trading charts for stocks and for crypto and stuff like that. Teaches you the ins and the outs of like how to read it properly, how to make more accurate positions or predictions, how to look for confluences and stuff like that. And it's dense, but it's pretty interesting, and so that's kind of cut into my gaming time, but I think that's worth it because that's something where you can actually make money off of if you get good enough. So yeah,
we'll see.
That's been my week.
Hopefully. I mean, we're not going to talk about crypto, but like it's I've heard people talking about
well, that's kind of the point though, man. It's like crypto's great because it's volatile, and if you know what you're doing,
like more of like higher powers trying to shut down crypto for good, stuff like that.
If it goes up, you can make money. If it goes down, you can make money if you know what you're doing. So that's kind of the whole point of this course. So yeah,
good. When it comes to me, not as much fun as Maso. I played some games. I played some World of Warcraft. Don't really want to talk about that too much though. It's kind of a funny situation where Classic TBC is out. I leveled up my Hunter and I couldn't get into any groups, and that was pissing me off. And then I leveled up Druid, and 26 minutes played on level 70, I was already in Karazhan, which is like the end game raid, because Druid healer. And it's disgusting. Like I want to play my Hunter, but you can't get into any groups. When it comes to Steam sale, did not really buy much. I bought 2 expansions for Forza 4, which feel salty about paying for it. So full price like 3 weeks back. It's an
Yeah, it's a
expensive
burn.
game, but it's
It's the same thing
fair.
with Stellaris, right? Like I
Yeah.
picked up Stellaris for full price, and then here it is on like 75% off, like 3 weeks later or whatever.
I've been busy trying to go back to my studio where I stream and we do I do podcasts from. So that's something I want to rearrange the whole room so there's nothing except I always wanted to do this, but like it never was the right time because I would technically work from there. So it never. Anyways, that's almost done. And starting tomorrow, which is Monday, I will start streaming there again, which kind of feels good because it's easier to like cool down or heat small space. And also I kind of feel like I'm in my own like place where no one ever enters, like a small streaming studio. That's what it is.
You need to drill like a hole through the wall or something so you can like put your air conditioning. Oh, you do?
Okay,
Yeah. Okay, cool.
that's why I can use it there.
Okay.
And I am going to change my streaming times. This is not like to promote my stream. It's more like a big shock for me. So that's why I'm mentioning it.
Whoa, buddy. This is my channel here. Promote yourself on here. That's rude.
It's I'm gonna start streaming at night again, which is something that I used to do back in the days, and then I started streaming like earlier, around noon my time, because a lot of my American friends who watch the streams, I would be there like at work noise, which I have nothing against. I love those pieces, but the problem is, man, I figured out that I function so much better at night. Like I'm mentally in a better place. I used to be fun streaming, and then now that I'm streaming like throughout the day, I'm like, 6 hours, I'm like burnt out. I'm like, man, I just like I want to go do something, whatever, and I want to go back to that, like, because there's no like I'm not getting that job, that's over, so I'm gonna be streaming and working on myself physically for the next like year or so. I'm not gonna look for anything, so why not do it when I feel like I'm enjoying it the most, right?
And you're productive, and I guess it frees up like in the daytime too, get some like vitamin D. And
I did not go okay, this will sound gross, but I did not go out in 3 years like during the daytime. I only go out at night.
Vitamin D is important, man. It's important.
I have roof windows.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not as pale as this shows. It just not enough saturation on the camera and the white light in front of me. I'm gonna be streaming some Star Citizen again. I decided I'm gonna stream Star Citizen again. I've
Risky move.
Yeah, but I'm gonna mix it with our games, like half or something like that. I'm gonna probably even, we talked about this, and I'm like, I kind of feel like streaming something and then switching into Star Citizen, because I feel like I want more people to see the game. And like bring new eyes to the project and have I don't care, man. Like I don't want to do that because I don't want to end my streams with Star Citizen. So I'm probably gonna think of myself now. I'm gonna start with Star Citizen, and then after, like, because Star Citizen can break you in like an hour or 2 hours. Sometimes you can have a whole day and have fun, but then I want to like switch over to something else when I get like triggered or whatever, and not worry about it. But like more of like big plans for next week than doing anything this week. Really. All right, that's it for our private shenanigans, I guess, and we're gonna hop over to news. You know what? Sad week for me, dude. Like there's been a lot of things happening, but at the same time, somehow I completely forgot about ISC, going away for 3-4 weeks, whatever. So then when I saw Chris and Sandy, I was like, okay, that's cool, but are we getting ISC as well? And then we talked about it during the Phantom Gossip, and I remembered, oh no, that's not happening. And then we have Calling All Dev.
Yeah.
Because there was only Richard Tyre, who is our favorite dev, both of us. We that's That's as much as I'm gonna say.
I, okay, we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Okay, so Chris and Sandy, this is my first time seeing two of them together on camera live, as in like when it's happening. And my take from what they talk about is his head is in the clouds, no surprise, and she's funny, man. Like she jabs him, and I giggled.
Yeah,
which I did not expect.
I like the dynamic when they're together. To be honest, like because you can tell, like Chris, you know, like Sandy, Chris isn't her boss, right? If anything, it's probably the other way around, and she doesn't let him sidestep things, and she's not afraid to throw a couple jabs in there. So yeah, I don't know. It was an entertaining watch, but I mean, I've been pretty vocal about how I don't really care about what Chris has to say from like a game perspective these days. Like and this is nothing against Chris. It's just that basically the things that he has to say about the game, I typically already know. Like I bought into the game, I bought into the vision, man. I know kind of like where you want to go with the game. So that sort of stuff like is not news or interesting to me. And I mean, no offense, I guess, but like you know, as far as timelines and the actual like mechanics of the game, it's been pretty clear over the years that he's not the accurate source for that. Or he's full of shit. Which I don't know, like take that how you will. I mean, I don't even know if it's necessarily that he's full of shit. It's just that I don't think he's got a granular enough view of what's happening from the perspective of the people who are working on these systems to really give any sort of accurate information. So yeah,
we did get a couple interesting information like pieces.
Did we?
That like, for example, 720 people working for CIG. Now that's a new number.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that is bigger. That is bigger. Yeah.
And you can see how excited he was or is for people getting back into their workspace, which I could not agree more with this, because and he put it really well. Like it's so nice to like just crawl out of bed and not have to go through any hurdles and just work. Yeah. But there's nothing like working in an environment with your teammates, right? And like actually being able to, you know, point at your screen and be like, oh, that's, you know, here's
what's
problem,
happening.
you know? Yeah,
exactly. Instead of having to like schedule the video calls and stuff like that, you could literally just like lean across the row and be like, hey, look at this. You know what I mean?
And I think they have really good dynamic when it comes to like working from the offices, and it feels like they're a huge team that actually kind of works good. I don't know, like obviously we can only,
you know what, this is kind of where I need a tinfoil hat, but like I wonder if that's kind of one of the reasons that we've, you know, even though they've been really out front saying like that, you know, they adjusted to working from home really well, whatever, but like I wonder if that is like part of the reasons that we've had such a like a content slowdown, because it's just like you don't have that rapid transmission of ideas, you don't have those like rapid potential bug fixes and stuff like that, you know, and then just having that be a cumulative effect over, what are we, like a year and a half now, like
well, we know Chris likes to be a hero, or you know, to represent the hero side. He's into movie production and all that stuff, so of course he's gonna play a hero in this COVID situation and be like, we are fine, we can do this, right? But in reality, there's no company that has 720 people that is not being affected by fucking COVID, dude. Like there's no way. So
but, I mean, obviously the effect was there, but very specifically this apparent slowdown and drought that we've had,
I think,
which admittedly from a lot of people, a lot of different content creators, a lot of different players, you know, is worse than these sort of droughts have been in the past. We've even theorized before this that wasn't necessarily COVID related, and that it was, you know, and that it was like a product of the game kind of getting to that point. But it's entirely possible that the reason it got this bad is because a year and a half of like essentially a slowdown in the transfer of information and ideas between the devs is just kind of having that effect. But
You remember
yeah.
at the beginning we started doing our show like around around that time when COVID started and everything. I remember
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
careful not saying COVID on because YouTube algorithm and all that. And I'm wrong. That was Star Citizenship.
No, yeah.
But I don't know if you remember, like back then we were like more understanding because we're like, yeah, but COVID, like that. But at the beginning, and then they were saying like they're not affected. They're still working full power and all that. But back
like,
then we were thinking about it as a potential issue. Now, a year and a half later, no one really thinks about it. Like, we're so used to living in these conditions and working in these conditions.
Yeah.
But the reality is it must affect, a huge company like that. I think. But it's hard, man. Like you want something out of it. You don't really care about it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Like we're on the ground, right? Like we're and they have to put on, like, as much as you think it maybe is like a crisp putting on the hero face thing, I think it's there's more to it than that. And then it's like, if you were a big company and essentially your backers are your shareholders or whatever, you're doing whatever you can to inspire confidence in everything's fine, nothing, like
I'm gonna disagree with that, like I always do, because I want them to say the
fact that yes, of course, but like
and I really I exploded back then because for like 3-4 weeks they were like, we're fine, and something went wrong. I don't remember now, and they were like, well, COVID, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you say you're fine? Just tell us COVID. The whole world is collapsing. Of course we're gonna understand that. I may not feel good about it, but don't tell me it's fine. And then like, oh shit, well, COVID, guys. And then from there on, I felt like whenever there's something wrong, they're going to say, COVID. And they did for a while. And maybe it was because of pandemic, but maybe they just use it as a shield. And I don't know. Like if they started with it, like, hey, we have issues here because guess what? Pandemic. Then if they started with that from the beginning, I'd be more okay with it. But that's me again. Like I always seek the truth, right?
But I think this is another example, and this is probably pretty off topic. And again, like this is from the perspective of somebody who isn't in PR and isn't in marketing, but like in my circles, anyways, that truth is becoming more important than the lines that are spun by like your traditional PR departments or whatever, like that.
It's so backwards. The traditional PR is so fucking backwards, man.
It's that sort of PR thing. Like again, like that maybe was the thing that worked 20 years ago, maybe, but it's not 20 years ago anymore. And people are looking for that, just the real talk. It carries more value and more weight, right?
I do feel like that's slowly changing. Like coming back where it should be.
But this is one of the examples where they have a PR department, and like this to me seems like more of that like stereotypical, more old-fashioned PR,
which is so strange. Because so if you're going to do your PR by the books in a project where you do everything against all odds, right?
Yeah.
It's so strange. When I say like it's coming back, I'm not talking about CIG. I'm talking about like the world in general. Like I think people are slowly going back into truth has value, even if it's not the best thing you want to hear sometimes.
Yeah. And like it's not saying that the older versions of PR don't work ever, because they still obviously do, otherwise they wouldn't be using them. But I think you're right in that it is kind of like shifting.
I mean, listen,
or at least
drugs work.
Seems to be.
Or like, I can give you like many things that work but should not be used. Nuclear bombs work. They work. They do their purpose. Should we use them? I don't think so. That's my take on lies
Yeah.
in PR. I'm sorry, I can't see that being
Well,
a good thing.
just that whole like slimy PR speak is
Yeah,
something that's
that's
being, it's just being called out more and more, right? And like again, at least in my circles, when that sort of like PR speak is detected, there's like instantly this
rejection.
this rejection of it. So yeah. Well, it's kind of off topic, I guess, but
What is it? I mean,
um
it is a big thing of like that's how we get all the information for about Star Citizen. Mostly is
yeah,
either PR or marketing, or we get devs or
yeah.
but they're going through the PR tunnel. Like they are actually limited to what they're allowed to say and what they should say and all that. So
Yeah.
it does affect
You know what?
us as content creators as well, and
And
everyone.
to bring this back, I guess, to the Chris and Sandy thing, I think that's one of the reasons I like seeing Sandy
Yeah.
on the videos with Chris, is even though she's like VP of marketing officially or whatever, she will just throw in those lines that just feel genuine and get what feels like a genuine response out of Chris, which is probably what I value the most out of this Chris and Sandy video, because like I said, I don't go to there for expecting any accurate information anymore, but I appreciate seeing the dynamic, and I appreciate how Sandy seems to be able to get that sort of more genuine response from Chris rather than the I'm a CEO and I'm kind of giving you the
Okay.
the
So this will sound all over the place, right? I am a person who talks shit about CAG marketing all the time. I cannot stand it.
Mhm.
I did not put two and two together, and I did not know that Sandy Gardner is actually his wife, because you can't really find this information online. Only the
Yeah.
Star
And there's a
Citizen
reason.
backers know. Yeah. No,
There's
that's
a
fair.
reason
I
for that.
don't mind that. That's perfectly fine. However, um, first thing that came to my mind was like, she's an actress. Why is she? What's the title?
VP of
Something.
marketing.
Yeah, of marketing. Like it's like it makes no sense. Um, and then it like went to a place where I even hate that whole idea even more. Like they're family. She is not, a marketing person. She's an actress and relatively active. Like her last movie was 2018. So like I don't know. I think she would be a great host. I think she would be able to add so much to the project without being what she is.
Yeah, honestly, she, this might have been before you joined, but that was the source of actually quite a bit of controversy. Again, it's one of the reasons why there's very
Of
little
course it is,
information
because
about the
family
connection
stuff.
between Chris and Sandy is like there was creepy stalker situations, there was like there was all this like media drama about it and stuff like that, but the nepotism thing about about Sandy being hired to VP of marketing, or the apparent nepotism of it, was definitely a kind of a
It makes me
topic
sad, kind of.
at the
But at the same time, I've seen her for the first time live in front of the camera when they're recording something and connected two and
Yeah.
two, and I like her. I would like to see more of her.
Yeah.
In like, in general, like she jabbed Chris, but also she said a couple of things where you're like, she knows about this game, and she
Yeah.
might even be
Yeah.
slightly nerdish and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she's, I don't know.
There
And that's
was a video, and it was kind of cringy. It was way back in the day, where Sandy was basically going around to different devs and getting them to train her, and so she could fly in Star Citizen. And her whole goal was she wanted to be able to beat, I don't know, it might have been Ben Lesnick in a dogfight or something like that.
Did she
It
manage
was,
to?
I can't remember. I think she maybe did, but I don't know. It was also pretty like it was pretty like campy, but it was fun. And that's the thing. Like, she used to be on camera a bunch, and I genuinely do. And that's kind of it. Like, where I was going with the whole nepotism thing is like I don't think it was really a nepotism thing so much as it was that she genuinely wanted to be a part of this project.
That's what I'm
And
saying. I think she can definitely be part of the project, like part
Yeah.
of this Colando's team or whatever. And
Yeah.
I think people would welcome her much more if she
They have.
wasn't.
she's
VP
she's
of
much
marketing.
beloved by a lot of people in the Star
Yeah, but
Citizen community and stuff
it's
like
kind of strange, right? Like everyone likes Sandy, but hates marketing. Like, how does that fucking work when she's VP of marketing? Come on. That's
Fair.
what I'm saying. Like, there's no need for that stain, basically.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't really think she brings much to marketing, anyways. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, who knows?
Again, I don't know. Like, I don't know what her actual credentials are. For all I know, she could actually have a degree. But
I
yeah.
would be okay with them saying, "Listen, guys, it's just a title."
If it is, but again, I mean, it's like we don't really know. We don't really know at the end of the day.
True.
For all we know, she could be hugely qualified, and she could be behind a lot of the things we don't like. But
Exactly.
I don't
that's
know.
what I'm
I mean,
saying.
the whole marketing hate, honestly, has been something that's just kind of it's come to a head relatively recently as far as the project goes. I mean, the whole ship selling thing has always been kind of a hot topic, but you know, like the whole hate for marketing,
It's been there
I
since
think-
I've been playing the game. So
yes, and that's what I think. Like it's gotten to a point where it's been like really quite vocal in the last 2 years. But yeah. Anyways, I don't know. You're right in that, like, we don't really know, at least from my perspective, and I haven't done a lot of digging, admittedly. So if you're watching this and you do know stuff that you know about qualifications and what you know, how involved she actually is with the marketing department, etc., you know, feel free to throw that in the comments. But like from where I'm sitting, I don't know I don't know how qualified she is. I don't know how involved she is in the decisions that we aren't liking, but I do know that she's pretty beloved of the community, and I do really enjoy her as a host. I think she does a really good job, especially when she's, you know, hosting events like CitizenCon and she was coming on shows and stuff like that. So, but in this case, again, more relevantly, this one specifically, you know, she felt really comfortable on camera and genuine.
she's not
and-
afraid of
and,
anything,
yeah.
like losing a job or whatever.
Yeah,
And she doesn't
exactly,
see
yeah.
him as a boss. They're, you know,
And I think one of the
partners.
things that she's always been pretty good at is seeing things from the perspective of somebody who isn't necessarily a hardcore Star Citizen fan, and asking those follow-up questions
like
that we
Xenia,
like.
like Xenia and Board Gamer. Like she will ask a question that seems so obvious, but we don't.
Yeah.
You know, he would not.
Yeah,
Would-
and I think like, there's
Okay,
a
this
lot of
is-
value in that. So
I'm gonna ask something. I don't know the answer. I'm not trying to create an answer and anything. I also really like this Colando, Jared. But and we're not gonna talk about this, you and me. Like I'm just gonna ask, and maybe someone will answer, or we might get some answers in the YouTube comments. Would she do better job than this Colando in his position? Okay, let's leave it at that. Okay, so then we had calling all devs, which was only one dev, which
you're
was
not even
Richard
gonna let me
Tyler.
respond.
No, I didn't say anything about it either.
Okay.
I want to hear what people have to say about this.
Okay. Well,
and then
I'm
we
gonna
can
say
talk
no.
about
I
it.
don't.
No,
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Fair.
But I
Now-
do miss when she was actually regularly hosting videos.
You've influenced people now.
Whatever.
I'm
People
kidding.
can
It's
think for
fine.
themselves.
I know.
I mean, it is ultimately a pretty simple yes or no question, right?
I
Like,
really don't know. Well, is it? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I cannot say yes or no. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I don't think Disco is asking good questions. I don't know if it's because he's not allowed to or whatever, but it's shit, man. Like there's no other way to say it. Like they skip important questions. They never have devs that can answer right questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what all the questions that are asked, we know the answers already. Like, come on, man. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But I know, like, sorry, going back to the like statement about like how she's good at seeing things from a new backer perspective, I think there is some some value to asking those questions that, quote unquote, we all know the answer to already. You know what I mean? To an extent.
You can
but
like make a new player Q&A video, and then for those who don't know these basic things, you can click on this link and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, because we
fair
have
enough.
power of
At the
video
end of the
editing
day-
and all that.
At the end of the day, I will say that I do think that Sandy is way better at asking those follow-up questions. But
Which I think is
yeah.
the most important thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this Colando should not work for CAG or anything like that. I think he's super important, and
yeah,
maybe together, like two of them could do it together.
honestly, I do think, well, and that's how it used to be, right? But
I don't know. I'm not
like,
from that time.
I think that Jared does a lot more behind the scenes that we don't see.
I know that. I think he's keeping a lot of things together, and like, I think Jared is super incredibly important for the project,
but lately he's really been missing.
We can see and hear is, in my opinion, not the way we should. But then, his hands are tied.
This right here actually transitions into the next bit of news, which is calling all dev.
Yeah. We have CAD with Richard Tyler only, and it was all about healing and death of a spaceman. And before we dive into that a little bit,
also some stiff stuff tacked onto the end about hacking and stuff like that. But
but again, this Colando started it and did not ask a single question.
Nope, just let Richard Tyler.
He was making faces.
Ramble on again, which okay, I mean, I don't know this guy personally, but I can say that so far, every video that has featured Richard Tyler just frustrates me, because it seems like he's excited about these things that are just not grounded in where the game is now. And I get it. They're not building the game for the way it is now. They're building it for how it's going to end up. But I think the just apparent blatant disregard for the game in the state it is now just makes a lot of what he talks about just really frustrating to me. So, yeah.
We both feel like he's not playing the game at all. Like,
exactly. It's like, what game are you playing? So to bring this into a little bit of perspective, the Calling All Dev, the main feature on it, like we said, was about healing and medical gameplay, death of a spaceman, stuff like that. And some of the things that he talked about that I had a lot of kind of issues with was specifically about the different tiers of wounds that you can accumulate, but again, set in a situation where we have a game where a lot of us are taking critical injuries or major injuries as a result of bugs, not a result of gameplay or any sort of player choice. And
can we start, for those who didn't know watching, maybe can we start like just shortly explaining what the first thing was, like the whole healing death of a spaceman. So basically what they're bringing in 3.15, if I'm not wrong, again, if it comes in 3.15, obviously might be delayed as everything, but what's going to happen is you might end up being, and correct me if I'm wrong, Maso, but you might get like hurt, or if you die, you know the whole story about like if you die, you don't really die. They have your DNA, and then once you are downed, you will be able to either wait for someone to come pick you up and deal with your wounds, which we're gonna get into later, or you can, which I'm happy that this is a thing, you can choose to technically like die and respawn in whatever your hospital, your like home hospital is. So you're gonna be able to choose, like, let's say Orison or Microtech, doesn't matter, right? And so no matter where you are, you're gonna spawn there, and then that whole thing where you, how many times you can be recovered, yada, and that doesn't really matter. So the other thing is, he explained how important this will be with loss of inventory. That might, if I'm not wrong, that also might happen in 3.15.
That is also supposed to come in 3.15, yeah. Both personal inventory and medical were pushed back to 3.15 together because they do kind of interlink, which...
So now we have a scenario where I am on a mission and I get shot through the door, through the wall by an NPC. and I'm about to lose everything. I am downed, so I cannot, like, not dead but dead basically, and
Mhm.
I cannot use my Moby Glass, right? So I cannot ask for help on a limited 40-50 people server already, which, like, you have to be lucky for someone to even play medical gameplay to come and patch you up, right? Eh, So my only choice might be to give up and go
Yeah.
back to the bed. Not to mention this could have happened because I bled out because I've lost both legs just by walking through Constellation, or something like that. Because there's so many bugs,
Yeah.
and this is one of those things where I'm like, my opinion is kind of split. Let's not talk about how good these ideas and decisions are in the first place, but the time of implementation, it seems to be not right, and I think both of us will agree with this. However,
Yeah.
it's an alpha, and you have to try. Like, how like, you know what I mean? Like, it's good.
Yeah.
This is the problem with, is this a game or not? And then it's already unplayable. We have desync. We have so many problems, and then you're gonna add more to that, where people just like stop playing. That's the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and
I don't know what to say.
that's basically what I was trying to get to. It's like I like these ideas for gameplay in concept. I really do. I recently just basically finished playing Valheim, and like there is very few things that get your blood pumping the same way as almost dying and knowing that if you die, like that's it. Like you're waking up
I think
naked
that's
back in
great.
bed.
The
Like that
hardcore
adds a
aspect.
lot. Yes, that
I
adds a lot to the gameplay.
I'm
But
just afraid, like, okay, so just to touch on that, like, just to expand, because I do not think I like this. That's the problem, because it's kind of funny. I love hardcore games. Like, I play Diablo, whatever Diablo I'm playing on hardcore. I love that near death experience where I can lose everything. Even World of Warcraft, I used to play with. You can go to Ironman website and register your character, and then if you break any rules or you die, it's over. They're not like they have the whole list of people who made it to whatever level. I love that. I think it brings so much more to the game. And the medical gameplay though, and your um dependency on other players in an MMO that is hardcore is something that I even in World of Warcraft, it is one of the biggest MMOs of all time, right? If you're playing Iron Man Challenge, you're not allowed to mingle with other people. Like, they're not allowed to help you or anything like that. The game tracks if you enter groups, you're not allowed to trade and all that, because you're in a very specific state of mind where you are responsible for your problems. And then if you die,
yeah,
you've lost everything, you have no one to blame, but you also know that you went in there, made a mistake, and then you can either reroll or scrap it. If you and me are playing and we end up dying because of my character that's been alive for so long and I have so much on it, I'm gonna blame you, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm not gonna do it, but you see where the problem can be. Or someone will play medical gameplay and they will fail and you will lose so much because some fucking random person. You know what I mean? I think it should be more simple of a thing, like dying, respawning. Medical gameplay, in my opinion, should be if you get hurt and stuff like that. I don't know, like, but if you get to a
that's what
point
it
where
is though. Like that's the way I understood it anyways.
it's
Like
kind of
somebody
vague
who's
though.
playing medic is not going to be able to quote unquote heal you and keep you up. It's more so like how do they deal with your injuries in such a way that they can get you out of there and get you to a place where you can actually deal with their injuries.
Okay,
Which
but let's go back to, like, if you're playing a healer in an MMO, you're
yeah, but
spec'd
this
into a healer. Well, let me
fair.
explain.
Okay.
So you're spec'd into a healer, and then you have the toolkit and levels and whatever. And before we go into a dungeon or whatever, I can look you up and say, like, okay, you might have enough skill to do this because everything else is in place. When you're playing skillless, levelless game, anyone is a healer. Anyone can respond to your healing cry for help, and
Yeah, but
who are they? Like, how are they a healer? Like, they just have the
well,
tool with them, right?
that's kind of it though, right? Like it's not even like I think calling medical gameplay and the people who are focusing on medical gameplay healers is kind of sets the wrong it gives the wrong picture of what I was able to understand about the gameplay when they were talking about it in this calling all devs. It's more rescue at that point than it is healing. And at that point, even if somebody who is a complete noob attempts to rescue you and fails, it's not really them that you're going to be mad at. It's you for getting your ass shot up in the first place.
You're always going to meet. Well, what if well, being that's another topic, I guess. Like being mad at another person. Elder Scrolls Online has 3-side PvP, so that you don't blame your team ever, because they are a social MMO, right? Guild Wars have it as well. World of Warcraft is the best PvP in my opinion because it has 2 sides.
Yeah.
So who am I blaming? Me and my team. If you're playing arena, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
Right? There's no third side to come in and so it's so simple. Like when you have 3 sides, if you win with help of the other side, you won, not the other side, right? If you lose, then the third party joined and they together killed us or whatever. It's never your fault. You never blame yourself. It's in our nature, and there's gonna be a lot of blaming, man, in the death of a spaceman. It's gonna make a game very unfriendly. I know.
Maybe, but I just think that's the reality of any PvP game right now. You always have people who are like, "You're such a noob," as if you didn't make that shot, as if you whatever. I just think that's the reality of online gaming, especially in PvP situations.
It used to be. Now games are slowly going to 3 sides so that they're avoiding that, pointing fingers.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't like that, by the way. I don't play PvP in these games because of that.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger topic than the medical specifically.
Well, it's death of a spaceman topic to me, but healing. Here's another question for me. Like, I was listening to Richard talk about this, and I'm like, is everyone going to be a healer? Because is it going to be something that, especially if you're playing on your own, which again, we talked about this. I know this is a multiplayer game where you want to play with your and they're trying to push more and more into multi-crew, but no MMO will succeed if it doesn't have enough solo content. Like, you need to be able to play on your own. You cannot always rely on other people. There's just whoever thinks that way is delusional. You need like 70% of the game to be soloable. Okay. Right? As in, like, grindy things. You fly your small ship or whatever the fuck you do, solo missions, whatever. I'm not saying
that's probably going to be fine, right? Like, honestly, if you're in your ship, that's fine because you're encased in like, in an armor and shielded vehicle. But I don't think it's unreasonable to just basically make, like, if you're going down on foot where you're extra vulnerable, I don't think it's that big of a deal to make that aspect of the gameplay something where, like, if you're going in by yourself, you're either A, really good and really confident, or B, an idiot. And the reason I don't think that that's a bad thing necessarily is even in Valheim, like playing multiplayer with like with my brother and with my friends, there's situations in that too. It's like, yeah, you could do a lot of that solo, but there are certain aspects of that game where, again, like, if you're confident and you're good, you can handle it. But if you want to be safe, or have like have that higher chance of success, you don't go by yourself, especially when you know that you're like not really geared for it, right? Because again, if you go down, that's it, you're down. Like, there's nobody there who can basically set up a portal so that you can come get your shit. There's nobody there, to guard, where you are or whatever. It's, like, now it's basically find your way back or you're out of luck until
I know, dude, but the difference is this is supposed to be an MMO, and I think it will like gate a lot of gameplay behind it, and people just not touch it. Um,
That's entirely possible. And like I think that's going to be the case in 315 flat out. Like I think it'll just get to a point where I mean already there aren't really a ton of people doing the bunker missions compared to other missions because again the bugs and the desync just kind of makes it more of a frustration than
and the
than
payout as well, that is ridiculously low.
yeah. Um
But yeah, it's true.
and I
Like
think
I
in
don't go there
315 it'll
because
be,
I died through the wall hack. Like what?
Yeah. The plus side of this medical system is like ultimately if you have two people in there, at least if you get wall hacked or whatever, you know, somebody can drag your ass out of there. But this kind of leads to my second problem with this medical system. And again, to go just to give some back context here. So the way that your health is going to work in 315 is that you have an overall health pool, and then each limb has a health pool as well. And as those various parts of your body take damage, if they get to certain levels, you get an injury basically that like a medical tool or a medipen or whatever can't recover from. You have to go back to a medical bed with the appropriate level to
heal
like,
those wounds,
to
get it
healed
back
up.
to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you got wall hacked and shot in the arm and it was serious enough, even if your buddy manages to kind of like patch you up, stop the bleeding, etc., you cannot recover from that injury without going, if it's serious enough, back to a city, like back to an actual hospital in order to regain functionality.
Or tier 1 medical ship, right?
Yeah.
Which we don't even have now. But like
which we don't even have, exactly.
But
and that's kind of the problem I have, because we already have a game where the game loops are small and repetitive and oftentimes have you spending a lot of time in elevators or on trains, etc. And now we're adding a piece of gameplay that is going to mean spending even more time in those elevators and on those trains. And again, like I'm not even necessarily saying that I don't want this to be a thing long term, because I think it could end up being pretty fun and interesting if it's balanced properly. But the state of the game right now, with like you said, like the ability to take potentially fatal or serious wounds through a wall because of the desync, or stepping on a ramp the wrong way and breaking both your legs, the result is just going to be less time actually playing the game and more time sitting in elevators or on trains to go, you know, repair something on your body that you can't fix, you know, without standing in those elevators and stuff like that. And again, if we didn't have the personal inventory coming in at the same time, that would mean that you could test these kind of wound situations, but not have it be as punishing as it's intended to be later on down the road, because people could just be like, you know, backspace, right? But paired with this death of a spaceman, essentially, or permanent your inventory, basically, where you're dropping your inventory and stuff like that. You know, I think that the result is just going to be the game even being less fun.
See, I'm not sure about that, because wait. First of all, but then I want to touch on this. We're going to talk about that. I personally am not liking this very detailed wound system. I don't want it. I think it's too much over the top. I would rather have a health bar with like serious consequences and all that, but like limbs and all that, I'm just not in. Like I don't like it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, whatever. I just don't like it. It's one of those things. It is what it is. You cannot like everything in a game. That's how it is, right? But
you know what I think it is? It's not for us. It's for the people who want to play that medical gameplay.
I'm not talking about medical gameplay. I'm talking about myself being, you know, injured in certain spots multiple
Yeah.
times and worrying about that.
Yeah, but the medical, that's what makes the medical gameplay interesting and
Sure.
have varied, like you have to kind of like approach the situation differently and having it be skill dependent. But like I see what you mean, right? Like from your perspective, you don't care. And
I don't
that's where
care.
that's where the balance I think has to come in.
And here's another thing, like when you game other MMOs, when you play other MMOs, like when you're playing on your own, like the only time you're depending on other people are instance situations where like you need someone to heal you because you're tanking or whatever. And that's when you're in the certain mindset where you're like, okay, I am going to give my trust to these other 4 people or whatever the fuck, and or 40, and we're going to do this together. And if shit goes wrong, we tried whatever. I don't want to care about that all the time. Imagine dying in World of Warcraft and being like, in there on chat, okay, I'm in Barons, these coordinates. Can someone come and res me, please? Because I don't want to res in Stormwind.
Right. And lose all your shit.
And lose all my shit. It's very, at that point, I'd rather like, okay, game over, let's start over.
So I have 2 things for that. One, like I said, I mean, I think the most of the situations where you're likely to even encounter this is not necessarily in situations where you'd want to be doing it solo anyways. So for example, like a bunker raid, that's kind of like trying to solo a dungeon kind of a thing as far as
if it's
like
that,
goes.
that's okay, I guess. But I mean, it's a general rule, like your limbs are targetable. So he said this, like you can be fighting in a ship, and when physical stuff like comes to ships, you can be hit by a fucking Rico or actual like ballistic through your ship,
but
and shit
what
can happen,
You know what though? If you get hit, he even said it, like if you take that much damage from like a ship weapon, you're probably just dead. Like there's probably no injury involved there. It's probably you're just fucking dead if you take a ship round, like a ship weapon round through.
Yeah, let's wait and see. This is like we don't know. It's more of like
that is one of those wait and see. And the second thing I wanted to say about this is the thing that could end up balancing the solo experience here is the quanta system with the NPCs and the fact that they have said that when you put out beacons, NPCs can respond to you. So if we have the NPCs in a game and you can basically, put a beacon out there and, 5 minutes later an NPC shows up and picks you up, that could be one of those balancing factors. Okay.
I just want to roll back to where you said losing your stuff when they introduce both systems at the same time and you drop dead and you lose all your stuff. I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, actually, man. Like, when I think about it, at first I had your like the same reaction as you, but if we are only able to carry like 1 or 2 weapons,
that is, I was actually going to mention
the rest of stuff is on my ship, and if I die or whatever, but I'm only losing what I have on me, right? So it's not that big of a deal. We, like right now,
it can be. It very much can be.
Right now, at this moment in the game, there's nothing super valuable that you can lose.
Replacing a full kit of heavy armor and multiple weapons can get pretty damn expensive.
Buy 4 and keep them on your ship.
Yeah, there is that. But like
expensive. It's so easy to make money, dude. Are you kidding me?
Sure, whatever. But
what
I'm saying is
$1 million per hour or more. Not that expensive
right now, yes, but like like it's not insignificant, especially if you're new, right? Like, and you don't have a couple million or whatever.
Sure, okay, but what, like
you're looking at what? You're looking at what? Like 30 grand ish.
Maybe that's
if you lose a full suit of armor and like a few weapons, and
that's 3 cargo missions. The quantum sensitive.
But that's 3 cargo missions. How long is that?
An hour.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but what I'm trying to put, like, again, these are just the things that happen in alpha, right? Like, not everything will be perfect, whatever. I don't think it's as big of a deal as both of us thought in the first place.
Well, that's fair. And the other thing is like, again, you play a game like Valheim, like Ark, any survival game, you learn really quick that you don't take everything with you.
Exactly. I've learned that in Eve.
You take with you what you are going to need to do your job, and you are constantly thinking about that. Yeah, exactly. You're constantly thinking about that. Can I lose this? So yes, like that's definitely a factor for sure. I'm not saying that the losing the inventory is going to be catastrophic or anything like that. It's an additional consideration. Um, and it's an additional negative when, like we've established, the I would say probably the bulk of the time that most experienced players are going to be dying and losing, is probably going to be because of bugs.
I know,
Or
but like, what's the solution to that? Like, they cannot just, if they could like
the solution is
overnight.
test one system before the other.
Oh,
Don't test
you
them
know
both at
what,
the same
man?
time.
That's gonna happen anyways. You're tripping that these things are going to come at the same time.
Maybe
It's on the map or whatever the fuck, but like, things are getting pushed around, man, all the time. It's like, I don't even,
Sure
when
they
they
are,
say
sure they
this, like, it's gonna come at the same time, I'm like, I'm sure it was supposed to
But
be
it's-
here now, so whatever.
But this is the thing. I kind of wonder if they will push one back if the other one, or if they'll push them both back if it looks like they're not going to come in at the same time.
I don't think the teams are the same. Why would you not have medical gameplay without inventory, or the other way
Because
around, inventory without medical
you can
gameplay?
tell they got a hard on for this because they want the deaths to mean something, and that's good. Like, again, just to be very clear here, I want that too.
I want
like,
that too, just
Yeah.
maybe not the way
Like,
that they want it, but
well, it's just more so that I don't think that the game is in a situation to really to make that sort of thing fun. I think it'll be the opposite.
it's
at
not a
first.
game. That's the problem.
Well, then that's it right there. But yeah. And again, like you pointed out, I mean, I do think that we have to have it in and test it at some point, right? It's just
We talked about this before your show, and I just want to mention again. I just don't fucking understand why is CAG not. So you bring in Clasher Prison, and it's not working.
yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Take it out. Just take it out.
Take it out and fix it.
Fix it. Bring it
Bring it
in.
back.
Test it. It works.
Or
leave it.
or
It doesn't work.
if you
Take it out.
Yeah. Honestly, you could even like leave it in there if you want, but just like work on it. Like, how long were prisons in and broken before we saw any fixes?
I disagree. I'm sorry, but like, this is the thing. That's what they do. They leave it in, and they work on it whenever the priority is, right?
They don't really.
Whatever. But
Or
I
at
know, but
least-
there's
I
so
mean, we
many
don't
things.
see
Right?
it
I know,
anyways,
but there's so many things. This is why I'm saying, take it out, fix it, bring it back in. And if we didn't have prison for like half a year and they've changed something, I tell you right now, people will go. You remember when prisons came in and someone said, "Oh, there's a jumping puzzle to escape prison." Everyone was playing prison that patch, man. Everyone was in the fucking prison, even though it was horrible experience.
Yeah.
Now, the moment I'm in the prison, I relog to my other account or stop playing. And if they
And
remove
most people do that.
prison, exactly. And if they
Most
removed
people
prison,
Alt F4.
yeah, and they brought it back since 6 months later and said, "We fixed something there. Can you guys just test it?" I'm telling you, dude. Like, people will go to prison.
Yeah.
On purpose. And then if
Yeah.
still there's like a game breaking issue, they would, if they take it out again, it's fine. It's an alpha, right? So
Yeah.
what?
Well,
So
that's especially it too, right? Because like with prisons specifically, the goal with prisons was for it to be a game loop,
Engaging
not a
gameplay.
punishment.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't been.
It's shit.
It's been an inconvenience to the point where most people go to prison and they're like, okay, well, I'm done for the night. Bye.
They get up, check how long the timer is.
And this is one of the things, like, to tie this into the medical thing. This is one of the things I think we said before we went live as well. Is like, the risk in this situation is that if it is so punishing, or that bugs are so bad that it makes that health system, punishing to a point where it's not worth playing those certain aspects of gameplay. People just won't,
Yeah, when you bring a new thing in Star Citizen, we are all going to try it. So the first like 10, 20 days, you're going to get like 90% of data. And if it's good, people will keep doing it, right? If it's, I'm not saying good is like no bugs. If it's engaging and fun, people will still do it even though they're bugged. If it's buggy and hindering your gameplay, people will just learn how to avoid it. That's basically what it is. So you're going to stop getting data there anyways. If I'm not the dev, so it's like kind of an armchair. But why not take it out with all that data that you have, sit down, work on it, and then bring medical gameplay in 3 patches or whenever you fix something, and then test it again. You know what I mean? That would make so much more sense to me if we are playing an alpha game or alpha project. But no,
Though,
we don't. We never know what we were playing. So
speaking of the armchair deving thing, that does kind of make me wonder how, like, maybe they just can't remove it without having to basically like scrap and redo a whole bunch of code. Like, maybe it's not that easy.
Roll back. What, we would lose some money in ships or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, roll back, but then like, because like that's the thing, like it like
roll back, reset, whatever, man.
As far as we've seen, and what we've heard from a couple different dev videos back in the day was that like branching like taking a branch from the game dev branch, so the main dev, and then branching it into something where it is a playable patch is a lot of work. And again, like that's part of the shitty situation they're in, kind of like doing a playable alpha. But like that makes me kind of wonder if it's too much work to roll it back in those situations.
I don't know, dude. And again, maybe you're right.
I'm not giving this to them as an excuse necessarily either, because if that is the case, then with situations like medical gameplay and prisons, those shouldn't be something that is subject to being relegated to low priority. Those should be something that are focused on getting to a point where it isn't deleterious to people's gameplay experience.
I think if they cannot bring it in and out, that's one of those like long-term. You know how they reinvent so many things and invent new things and whatever. Like, why didn't you think about developing a system that will allow you to bring it in or out? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they do these things, whatever, and they can remove a ship, for example, or whatever. So
yeah, that's pretty easy though, right? But like,
I don't know if it's easy, man.
About all these, well, comparatively, I'm just thinking like from that perspective, you're removing a ship. It doesn't really affect the rest of the game, right? But like, if you're going to try to remove prisons, for example, like you
okay, let me tell you something why I think you're wrong. Okay, Invictus Week, you bring in the whole fucking Invictus and then you remove it, everything.
Yeah, but again, like that's just basically well, first of all, they have to do an actual rollout patch to remove the expo hall and stuff, but like other than that, like that event doesn't really touch anything else in the game. But for example, with prisons, like the law system is connected with that. The like the trespass system, the like it's basically like it think about how many different parts of the game the whole prison system plugs into, and then having to basically close out all those or remove all those and not break things.
I don't know, man. The way it is now, it sucks. So that was just my idea. I don't know if it's doable or not, but
no, I'll agree with you.
Sucks.
I'll agree with you in that, like, yeah, it sucks, especially when they put something in that literally makes the game worse, and then they just don't work on it for however long. So if it's possible for them to modularly pull stuff out, yes, I think that's a good idea. If it's not possible, and once it's in, then basically there really is only one other, well, I guess there is two other solutions. You leave it in and let the game be worse, or you make it a high priority and focus on getting it to a point where it at the very least does not make the game worse. Right? And we haven't really seen that so far, so that is another reason why I'm basically, I don't even know, I'm not angry that this system is coming in. I'm just,
well, they need to start bringing systems in. I'm not angry at that at all. They need to start doing something, but
I'm just concerned. I have concerns that it's going to make the game worse to play, which is definitely not something that we need right now, because I think everybody can agree that with desync and server performance the way it is, it's already pretty rough to play sometimes.
It's just boring, man. Like, honestly, it's boring.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Well, and that is something that, like, if this is done well and it is balanced, it it could go a long way to making things more exciting. Like I said, I mean, if dying actually matters, you know.
I think they're gonna add stuff like that will not matter actually, and that might not be a bad idea. Like, for example, now we're getting surrender, but even if you surrender, you turn off your ship and you surrender, everything's the same, right? So there's no difference, but you can't surrender, which means nothing. I think
no, but it will in 3.15.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think they might bring it, like, this is just like speculation, obviously, but I think they might add it so that you can, when you die, you can wake up in the hospital, or maybe you can just respawn, whatever the fuck, you know, like.
Yeah.
They can't. What if something goes wrong and then what? You're locked out from your account, or fucking, you know? Do you need the backup solution? We need backspace, man. I hate backspace. Okay.
Yeah.
But we need backspace.
Right now we do.
We already have issues with, like, I played on my alt account with only Aurora. I bought. We talked about this. I bought an Avenger. It took so long, man. It took so long. I bought an Avenger. And the first time it got destroyed, I tried to claim it. It doesn't work. It's gone. It's like, it's there on my list, but I can never ever spawn it again. So you need safety, you know. And imagine if that happens to your character. You remember we couldn't have, like, when there was a bug with Mobiglass? And that's it. You can't play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can't play. You're done. So, yeah. The whole Death of a Spaceman gameplay and medical gameplay and all that, it needs to, you know, it needs a safety, you know, lever or whatever.
Until, at the very least, until the servers are at a position where, you know, where you can actually mostly just blame the people if they're the ones who are, you know, getting their asses killed. The problem is that, you know,
if you can't respawn, you know.
Yeah. Well, wait, what do you mean, like, you can't respawn?
If hospitals are bugged or whatever the fuck.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying now.
The hospital door does not open. What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, you're there. Okay, your gameplay is now in hospital. Good job.
Yeah, character reset. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I had some ideas about this, because the first thing that, and we mentioned this already, is what if you die, quote unquote, and you can't use your Mobiglass, but you're having something valuable and you don't want to release. You wanna be saved, but you can't set up a ping anymore. So I was thinking about, like, if you are insured or something, your Mobiglass automatically sends a ping.
I think that's probably the way they'll do it, actually. But they did say that in the interim, they're basically just, you know, saying that, like, chat is an option. And then basically you'll be able to like type in chat. An option. Yes. Because
how
you can
chat
still
an option?
Well, you can still chat. It's just you're dead.
Kidding,
you can't
right?
access your. Well,
I think this is true.
Okay, but obviously this is not a permanent solution. They just said
There's no problem with, like,
interim.
listen, wait. I think this is true.
Yes.
You are in. Mine in Iron Halo, and I died there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna send a message in chat. Hey guys, I died in Iron Halo. What?
Yeah.
How are you going to find me?
To party marker.
Oh, that will work. Okay.
Quantum.
Because you can't really. Yeah. Okay. I guess.
And then from there,
like, you can't give a ping or whatever through chat.
Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But, like, with the party marker, you should be able to get people to quantum right to you. You know, and then at the very least,
cool?
You can pay them afterwards if they want.
If you have a medical ship, there's, like, a manifest that someone died somewhere in your, like, Mobiglass list of things, and then you can go and pick them up. Like, let's say you're flying Carrack or Patty Red, and I die, and you see, okay, so Commander Tag just died here.
So you can hire somebody to go pick up your stuff for you? Is that what you're thinking?
No. Let's say you're playing Cutlass Red, and I died somewhere. We don't know each other, right? But in the missions, the mission appears. It says this area and like a rough ping, someone died. You can go and try and rescue them unless they release whatever. And then you can totally either say something or go and try and get it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Like the Quanta system, I could totally see that kind of like, especially again if you had that insurance package or whatever. I could see it just like auto-generating a mission that that is out there. And again, like either a player accepts it or after a certain time, it just, like generates an NPC to take the mission kind of thing.
Yeah. Before we go on, and I think it's time to go on, but when I watched Richard Tyler explaining how you can lose your legs and then like crawl on the floor until, I'm just like, dude, I want to play a game. I don't want to go to Vietnam, like, calm down, bro. I don't want to crawl bleeding for 7 hours until someone finds me there.
I mean, okay, fair enough. I like the idea of at least going into like a state where you again, like there's just a little bit more variety to, you're either up and mobile and dead. So I like that a little bit, but
it's too much, bro. Like in his eyes, like you can lose both legs and then you gotta crawl, and I'm like,
this is one of those situations where I'm gonna say that, ultimately we're just gonna have to wait and see. We have to see what it actually looks like, because it could end up being fun and interesting. It could,
Let's see.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. This is a topic that, news that you're very interested in. Horus is coming into the game. And there's still no, like, it's TBD for its cargo space, and I'm really curious because I have it. Most likely I would just, like, the price is going up, so why not having, you can just buy some other ship for less money. But I actually want to fly it. But so Burks did a video, an honest opinion. It's like 6 minutes video. We're probably gonna have it in
Gossip. Yeah,
in Gossip. It's a good video. Yeah, but he mentioned 126 or 128 cargo, something like that. And dude, that's fucking low, bro.
Way too little. Like, if
let me tell you something.
I don't care about the Taurus, but if it is not at least 150.
No, I need it.
There's
more.
No reason to fly it. There's no reason to fly it.
So, Constellation Andromeda, which is a gunship,
96.
So you want to tell me that Taurus, which is a cargo variant, only has 30 more?
Oh, with 126? Yeah. No, that's something's off with that.
Like, when you think about how much.
Think about how much space you lose when you ditch that Merlin. It's quite a bit of space. Like, I would see, like, 150 to me makes sense. That makes sense to me.
150? How much do we have on max?
122. Or 120. Maybe just 120.
120, I think.
So 30 SU more than a max. Yeah. Well, my opinion. My opinion is fly the max. Like,
I hate the max. I think it's disgusting. It flies like a fucking. It's gross.
I like it.
Well,
I like it.
You do.
I like those big quad engines. I like that thick back end.
You go and fly max. I want Taurus to have 200 plus.
It's not gonna have 200 plus.
That would make sense, though.
I don't know if it would, though. Think about that. Like,
how much cargo ship?
How much? Yeah, but how much space are you actually freeing up when you remove that Merlin? 50
well, remove
SU,
fucking missiles as well. Okay, so then you have the whole level of SU more, or 2 even.
Okay, so going up instead of back.
Back and up. And then you don't have a Merlin, so you don't have to like walk around the whole. So remove the fucking whatever.
Yeah. So the cargo grid is like wider. So that, like you can't necessarily move around the cargo bay when it's fully loaded or whatever. Yeah, that's fair.
Or like leave one side catwalk and add another like line of SCU.
I don't know. I don't think that's a big deal, to be honest.
Of course, you don't think it's a big deal because you don't want that ship.
No. I mean like the idea of not being able to walk around your cargo.
You
like,
can't walk around the cargo in Caterpillar, you know.
You can't walk around the cargo in a tractor trailer. You know, like when a 53-foot tractor trailer is loaded up, you can't get around the.
It's
you know,
done, bro.
and it doesn't matter because like when you're loading the cargo, you think about that.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
the stuff that has to come off first gets loaded last. That's But
oh, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be fun. If we physically have to like take out and like drop something, you're like wrong side.
The Taurus, though, I mean, that is one of the advantages of the Constellation, is that the entire cargo hold
we don't know
lowers
that
to the ground
because the lift is much less wide than You think they extended the cargo lift all the way back to its butt?
Yeah, maybe, or made two different lifts, similar to the 315, right? How it's got the front lift and the rear lift.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm curious to see this.
I don't think it's going to be 200 though.
If it's 200 or more, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it's 126,
if it's 126, it's like it's not even what. Yeah, if it's 150, I'd say you could potentially make a case for it.
I don't want
but
that because then
want it.
Let me tell you something. 150 is less than 2 runs with Phoenix. Phoenix is 80, and I'd rather have a fucking jacuzzi and windows. I'm sorry, dude.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a case to be made for it. Not necessarily would you have it, but like if it's 150, I could see why somebody would say, okay, that's enough.
It has to be more than 160, because actually it has to be more than 2 times, in my opinion, 2 times 96, because you're losing a lot of firepower, snub fighter, guns, like you're losing so much. So why, it has to be worth more than twice with Constellation.
I guess the other thing to consider there too is like, even if it's 150, like you're not only thinking really about the max at that point, you're also thinking about the MSR, and like look at what else the MSR can do potentially compared to, like it's what, 116 SCU or something like that.
Maybe even more. Wait, I'm checking. And plus data, plus like plus living quarters. Yeah,
plus just better layout.
Star Citizen, Mercury, Star Runner. Hey. Wrong link. Okay, so cargo. What? I'm having a. Oh, what did you say? How much did you say it has?
I think it's 116. I want to say.
You're very close. 114. 114.
Yeah, plus data, plus.
You know what else?
Turrets,
I really.
Plus...
I so wish I enjoyed that ship. For like, it has so many issues for me, but the best experience I've had in a long time was when you fill up MSR with cargo, you still have space to park a golf cart in front of you and open and close. And even better, you can, because it's a open top, right? You can actually sit in a car that is next to your elevator. From the car, you can open cargo, drive out, close cargo from the car, go sell, buy, come back. The only problem is what happened to me 2 times. It's so good because you land and you're like
rich.
Yeah.
You always see like rich people like puttering around in their golf carts around their estates and stuff like that. That's you in the
kind of.
Yeah.
The problem was that I go out with a golf cart. It's a gray cat. What's the name?
PTV, I think.
Whatever, yeah. A little buggy. And I would go there and get out of the car and go to sell things, buy things, get out, my car despawned. Fucking hell.
Oh, yeah.
It was so annoying, so I stopped. And I was like, really, whenever I find some kind of a fun,
Yeah.
there's an issue with it. Like, fuck.
They've addressed that in the last few months. Not that they fixed it, just that
I know.
they've mentioned that the ship and vehicle culling is like really aggressive right now because of the way that the servers are.
Yeah.
That is something to actually kind of like roll into the next subject here. Desync.
Holy moly! Again, I
It's
wanna.
not just the servers.
Yeah,
Apparently.
I wanna thank Captain Burks for this. Not that he's watching or anything, but like he did this testing on his streams, and because everyone keeps saying that desync is server issue, right? And it still might. I think it still might be a server issue.
Yeah.
However, what we did not know is that this happens in Arena Commander as well, which is instanced, and even if you have only two, players.
Yeah, in the 1v1 mode or whatever. Yeah.
So you spawn two people in Arena Commander, and people are still teleporting around.
Positional desync. Yep. You're getting shot while it doesn't look like you're getting shot.
This is such an issue, man. Like,
it is. And again, like Todd Pappy last week said that they know and they're working hard on it, but man, what a game killer. Fixes for that cannot come soon enough, and unfortunately we don't have any timelines on it.
So the only bright light on this is going to sound crazy, right? But if this is not server side issue like the way we think it is, maybe bringing in or Horizon, whatever I've heard Chris call it, Horizon.
Maybe it's not actually going to affect it that much.
Yeah, and Xenothread and Ninetales, which is scary, man. I'm like thinking about adding all that into the game. Is fucking scary to us who play it.
That's one of the things we were talking about. What was it, last week? I was talking about how like we were noting that Orison still hadn't been confirmed on the roadmap, and that we were kind of like hypothesizing that it was because potentially it was going to strain the servers to a point where it couldn't like you couldn't play at all.
Yeah. But maybe it doesn't matter. Like maybe it's maybe this is something else.
Seems like we were wrong.
I have to ask you to do me a favor, and we have to like pause the news section here, and if you can do zero effort, because I have to step off for like 2 minutes.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll pause news. We're going into Masos absolute zero effort science section. This is basically where from the perspective of somebody who's just a nerd and not an actual scientist, talks about scientific things that Star Citizen gets right, and sometimes that they get wrong or they don't really seem to consider. Again, zero effort in that I have no real idea what I'm talking about besides being a nerd. But I was listening to a kind of like a, I don't know, it's futurism kind of a video this week, talking about just how big of a deal waste heat is for potential future civilizations and stuff like that. And that is basically that radiating away heat when you reach a certain population density on a planet, for example, is very difficult. I mean, we can kind of see this in the world that we're having right now with increases in greenhouse gases kind of resulting in overall higher planetary levels, but and no real way to dissipate that heat, at least at our current technological level. But those levels are exacerbated when you get to higher levels of technology, like, for example, a city like ArcCorp, or a planet like ArcCorp, which is literally an entire city powered, we assume by fusion power. Like, what do you do with that heat? But on top of that, one of the things that's never really addressed in Star Citizen is the effects that all of that ship traffic would have on planetary systems. So obviously, a planet like ArcCorp is going to have a ton of ship traffic going up and down out of there. But if you think about it, every single time a ship hits the atmosphere and is coming down, even not even including the the fact that they're using plasma engines, they're generating heat to slow themselves down. It's that friction that's kind of that aerobraking effect that that basically converts that kinetic energy of the ship into thermal energy, and that's how they're able to slow down. But now multiply that by potentially millions of ships coming and going, and then on top of that utilizing kind of plasma engines to blast themselves off, back up into orbit, and you very quickly have a situation where heat levels on a planet would rise catastrophically. And I mean, at least as far as we know, we don't really have any real ways to deal with that. And that's why I can kind of tie this into a previous absolute zero effort science section where I was kind of griping about how we don't really see any megastructure projects in Star Citizen. There's one, the Synth World, which is where the UEE is actually undergoing kind of like a science experiment on building an artificial world to colonize. One of the things that would help to alleviate these sorts of heat problems, at least from the ships coming and going on a major world like ArcCorp, would be something like an orbital ring. And that's basically where you build specifically a space elevator, but you'd probably attach that to an orbital ring as well. And that's basically where you build a very, very long cable, in the case of a space elevator, that reaches down from a spaceport and then runs up into the atmosphere, or out of the atmosphere specifically, into a position where you can basically just run these giant train cars up and down the space elevator. And that's one way that has been proposed to kind of like help to mitigate all the insane amounts of heat that would be generated by all those ships kind of like aerobraking into the atmosphere and then blasting back off again. Again, I mean, it just kind of like idle kind of musing about something that again isn't really addressed in Star Citizen and in a lot of science fiction franchises for that matter, but would require either a real big breakthrough in the way that we understand physics, insofar as we'd have to come up with a way to dump that heat somehow, and B, kind of a bummer that we don't see these like larger kind of megastructure projects, because and ramble back and forth again back to the space elevator. The other advantage of those space elevators is that if you're able to position large radiator panels off the ends of these space elevators, you can actually help to basically pump heat up from the atmosphere and then radiate them out into space from the tops of these. Not super efficient, but it's better than the alternative, which is basically cooking a planet.
I'm gonna have to watch the whole episode.
Whatever. It was mostly rambling, but yeah, short and sweet. Every time you see a ship coming into atmosphere and the fire is going off of it, like the re-entry effects, what it's doing is converting that kinetic energy of the spaceship into heat. And when you have a world like ArcCorp, which is an entire city that obviously is going to have like millions of ships coming in and out of atmosphere, at any given time to bring products to it or ship them out, all those ships generate heat that is now essentially locked on that planet without a way to.
I did not even think about it that way. When you said ArcCorp, what I thought of is, right now I'm 100% sure that I live in Belgrade, Serbia, and the temperatures 30 kilometers away from the city are so much lower than here.
Yes. Yeah, that's well documented.
And I think one of the reasons is AC, because I go around the lake where usually it's super chilly. It's an 8-kilometer diameter, and if you go anywhere near any clubs or anything that are using AC, you can feel how much warmer it is around, because they're like pumping this hot air out
Yep,
And,
that makes a bit of sense. The other thing is that just pavement
for
soaks up
sure,
heat.
100%, 100%.
You know?
But I think like the amount, like because especially now that the temperatures are kind of strange here and much hotter than usually for the last couple of years, everyone has an AC, dude. Like the whole city is like 3 million people using ACs. You know what I mean? Like that has to
Yeah.
add, I don't know, like 5 Celsius or more.
Well, it's just basically displacing the heat. It's displacing the heat from inside
It
and then
also
pushing it
generates
out.
heat as well. It also
Yes,
generates heat.
there's waste heat for sure. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
it has an engine and everything. Like it, I
Yeah.
know because using the
electrical
mobile
resistors and stuff like
unit,
that. Yeah.
it's pumping the heat out of my room, and it's pumping a cold one in. But the heat that goes out, you can like boil food in it. It's so much warmer than the actual heat in the room. So it adds, right. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and there's there's that effect as well, which I actually kind of touched on with ArcCorp. Specifically, it's like a planet, but that by itself, if it's running off of like, let's say, fusion reactors, like that heat doesn't just magically go away. That heat is there. It's on that planet, and you got to do something with it. But yeah, specifically, the short and sweet, like I said, was just thinking about all the heat that's generated from ships aerobraking into atmosphere and then blasting off with plasma rockets to get out, right? And on a city like ArcCorp, or on a planet like ArcCorp, there's going to be millions of those happening.
Would you say like it would
day.
be semi-realistic for ArcCorp to be much warmer, like atmosphere, than some other planets?
I mean,
let's say Hurston.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
or are they going to think about that or not?
or there's some, again, like, or they've figured out some hand-wavium physics problem that allows them to like dump waste heat, right? Because that's the other thing, is like we have coolers on our ship, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in a previous Zero Effort Science section, but like, how do those coolers work? Nobody seems to really know, right? Like, in space, one of the reasons you see those big, we did talk about this a while ago, because like those big things sticking out of the ISS, the space station, those aren't solar panels, those are radiator panels. Those are radiating heat away, right?
We talked about this, I remember.
Yeah, that's what you need basically on the side of your ship in order to like effectively get
but it would make it
your ship.
Kind of ugly.
It would make it, yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be your fancy space plane looking spaceship, right? So one assumes that they have some magical way of getting rid of heat.
I think it's okay. I mean, we are playing a game.
Oh, totally. It's a game for sure. But it is kind of interesting to think of just how much extra heat all of those ships going in and out of a planet's atmosphere would generate. It's not something you see in a lot of different science fiction franchises. So, to everybody watching this on YouTube, sorry, you just had to listen to that twice, essentially. But
you didn't have to, though. Yeah. I'm going to listen to it anyways. It's fine. By the way, I had to go because wind picked up big time, and it's raining now. So I had to like go around and close everything because it was blue skies when we started. So and I live in the attic, and the windows were all open, like the roof windows. So I apologize for that. It would be rough if I did not run away. I think this is the first time in how many episodes that I had to like actually stand up and leave.
Yeah, but I've had to do it before. So
I know, but you have pets and all that, so it's different. Okay. All right, back to the news. We don't have too much more. It's going to be all over the place when I do the timestamps. I don't care, though. Scanning UI is being changed.
Yeah. We've seen this, we've covered this. It looks really good, but let's just reiterate how good it looks.
It looks good.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more kind of HUD and scanning UI work coming out in various videos, and it looks great. It looks so much better than the way it was.
The reason I brought it in the news is because this is the one and only thing that I'm excited about the next patch. Like, I want to see Orison, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. But I don't care about But this is something you look at all the time, and it looks so much cleaner. And the fact that it will work in your ships, like fighting ships and like mining ships and all that, like that, the whole like scanning thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the fact that it like highlights the ship that you're scanning, that's new too, isn't it?
That's brand new. You can
Yeah.
see now. This is a problem that I have with. I'm not sure if I like it or not. So I'm not saying like this, like it's a bad thing necessarily. I just don't know. You can scan the other ship's components. I would think at that time you would have a way to protect that data, because if I can scan components, what then I should be able to scan weapons and missiles.
But you can. Like, it makes sense to be able to scan the weapons because they're right there. Like, they're outside of the ship.
What
Like,
about the missiles?
missiles? I don't. I mean,
that matters because some ships can have either torpedoes or missiles. Let's say, what is the name? Harbinger, and Gladiator and
that
Hammerhead.
From a hand wavium perspective, it would make more sense if you could detect the missiles when they were armed, because that makes sense, right? Like, they'd
Sure.
be giving off a particular signature that a scanner would be able to pick up. And that's why with the components specifically, I don't really mind so much about that, because again, from like a hand wavium perspective, like an FR-76, like the shields, for example, let's use shields for example, they're different. Like, they have different signatures to them because they do different things, right? So it would make sense that a scanner would be able to pick up.
Okay, you can explain this. I agree. Not like you, CAG, whatever.
Yeah.
The reason you can't. What I'm talking about is like and when it comes to like PvE and like scanning NPC ships, I don't give a shit. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Scanning another player and seeing exactly what they're using makes a difference between like just killing a new player who doesn't know what the fuck is going on, because you can see he's not using, or they're not using FR-66 or whatever, and you can just like blast through them. Or
I know we constantly. Okay, sorry. Do your or.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the problem is, like, if you would have players not scannable and NPCs scannable, then you know if it's an NPC or a player, which is another problem, because in Star Citizen, I think it's kind of cool that you can never figure out what's what. Well, you can with the name, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know we always bring this to WoW, but like in WoW PvP, like, you know how it is, right? Like, you're in a battleground, and like, even if you're just going off of visuals, for example, well, before the transmog thing anyways, you could just like look and be like, oh, that guy's got no gear, I'm just gonna like wipe him off the map real quick. And even with the transmog thing, you can look and you can see a health pool that gives you like a rough idea on what you're dealing with. So that would be potentially a a compromise in this.
I cannot agree though. It's funny because that's what so I'm playing Burning Crusade Classic and not the current game, and one of the biggest reasons is that I don't like transmog. Sure, it looks fancy and all that, but we played Arena a few days ago, and you enter and I recognize, so it's just, TBC just started, so I know if this person is using, they don't have Arena gear, so if I know exactly if they're using PvP gear or Karazhan gear, like tier 4, or dungeons, because I can recognize every item. There's not that many.
Yeah.
And this leads into my knowledge and the this decision of who are we going to kill first because of the gear and whatnot. However, World of Warcraft is a game of gear and skill. Star Citizen, we talked about this, is more about assessing the situation, getting in there prepared, trying to figure out what enemy does or has, and I think stealth gameplay should be big. Data information should be crucial. Like in Eve, you're not. I don't think you're supposed to be able, unless you do something like you probe their ship or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you did an effort, you made an effort to see what they have.
But you do, first of all, like okay, are we talking about like before you're engaging or after or like while the engagement is going on in a PvP situation?
In Star Citizen,
yeah,
you can just turn into like scanning mode and then hold left click and it starts listing things on the side.
Yeah, but you also have to hold your reticle over them to do that. So in a combat scenario, it might be pretty tricky to like be able to actually get a full scan off on somebody who's in a fighter flying evasively. They might.
Okay, we meet. I find you in Port Olisar, and I scan you, and you jump. I jump after you, and I I wreck your ship.
What? Okay.
What I
but, like,
want is
how is the scanning affecting whether or not you wreck my ship there?
because I know you're using like the shitty shields and bad weapons and all that, and you don't know that I've picked it up. So what I would like to have is, if I go through the effort of figuring out someone's ship, that ship, if they have like an engineer or whatever, like should know that someone scanned them. Like, actually,
Yes,
because you don't have
which
to
is the
target the
intention.
ship. You don't have to target the ship in any way. You don't know if someone's scanning you or not.
That is the intention. The intention is that you'd be able to know if you're being scanned. Similar to the situation where, like, right now, if you get stopped by the cops and they say scan in progress,
Okay.
if you're being scanned, you're going to know you're being scanned. Maybe not initially, but that is definitely the intention.
Because right now someone's targeting you, but to scan someone, you don't have to target them at all.
Yeah. When they did the scanning and ping Q&A or whatever it was, not the Q&A, it was a video. They actually mentioned that, like, if you're being scanned, you'll know you are being scanned.
But don't you feel like it's kind of like, okay, let's go to another scenario. I am flying a Caterpillar. Let's fly something else that is more protected. Carrack. Okay? Because Caterpillar, Drake, whatever, maybe, But I'm flying Carrack, and I have Laranite. Full Carrack of Laranite. And you scan me, and you see, oh, it's Laranite. Juicy.
Yeah.
And you just go and wreck me and pick up whatever is left over of Laranite, because any Laranite will make you a profit, right? And what? I don't want you to just, like, click on me and know what I have. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to go into a gameplay to figure out what I have on board, which allows me to know that someone knows what I have on board, gives me enough time to either prepare or go or run, or maybe, counter gameplay where I can maybe kind of deceive you, or you have to go into like mini-game to pass by my firewall, whatever the fuck,
Okay, we're definitely getting into Imagine here, but this is kind of fun, I think.
Well,
so there's
it's Imagine because what they show is too easy to know what the airship has. I don't want that. I don't want to be. I feel exposed.
I know there's gonna be more to it insofar as they've said that different sensors, for example, will have different, like, so for example, it's entirely possible that if you wanted to have advanced scanning of somebody's components and stuff like that, you would have to either have a specific sensor module or have like specific scanners to be able to do that.
Okay.
2, they have also said, we know that electronic countermeasures and that sort of gameplay is planned, but we don't know anything about it. But it is entirely possible that, maybe there is some gameplay where this is the Imagine side of things.
No, that's fine. That's fine. If they said these are the plans, I'm okay with all this. Then I don't have a problem at all. If it's like just a tier 0 iteration, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
For NPCs, it's very, very useful. In PvP, I think it's going to be very bad at the beginning, but whatever, it's like just the first iteration. That's okay. I just missed the when they said it. That's all.
Yeah. So I again, like, we don't know anything about like electronic countermeasure ships like the Sentinel and stuff like that, or what their capabilities are. But it's also possible that you could like spoof a scanner return or just jam it entirely.
We're imagining, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to bash them for something that is not out yet. That's all. Like, whatever, when the idea comes to fruition, right? When you see what they're doing, then I can say, okay, I like this or not.
Yeah.
but this is a good counter.
I do also think that I don't think it's going to be super disastrous for PvP, the way it stands right now, because
I think
it also goes both ways, right? Like if you know that you are in a situation where you don't have a ship that is fully upgraded, or that you've built your ship in a certain specific way, you can counter scan and be like, oh fuck, that guy is essentially the rock to my scissors right now, and you can just get the fuck out, like, don't even try to engage.
That's like, you're looking to like through like current perspective, but when losing a ship, losing a life is big thing, people are not going to engage unless they know they can win. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
and therefore I don't want people to be like, one click away from knowing what I have.
Oh, okay, so knowing exactly if they
Yeah,
can win.
exactly, because that's
There is also there's always the skill factor to this too. Ideally, even though like right now,
let,
admittedly, with the
let's
combat the
say
way
we're
it is,
both
it's more
skilled,
about
right?
yeah,
At some point these people who are attacking each other and whatnot will know. And then also there's gonna
yeah,
be meta of like, okay, if you
okay,
wanna invest and like be less of a target for pirates, use this because it will give you enough time to run away or whatever. So for
yeah.
those who go deeper into mechanics, research, whatever,
That's kind of it though.
guides,
Like if we're assuming that both people are skilled, then the person who's in a ship and is in default components knows that they are, at a disadvantage.
but it's not default components. Your components and ship might be good for rock paper scissors, right?
Right.
Like
So
so,
for PvE versus
yeah, I
PvP.
can have a sentinel that is super stealthy, and then someone can come. It's just like bullshit, but
Yeah.
like someone can come with the hawk and just destroy me, or I
Yeah.
can have sentinel that is like fully shielded and armored and whatnot, and that hawk cannot, do
Yeah.
anything against it. But it's the same
I don't
shit,
know.
right?
I still just I don't think it's gonna have that big of an impact because again like the important things too, like if somebody's coming at you with ballistics, you know that they're basically running a PvP build for the most part, unless they're running PvE
Wait,
with ballistics.
we don't know if this will
But
be the way, like when the game comes out. All
oh
these issues for me are when the game comes out, not now. Like right now, I
oh
don't
okay
give a
okay
shit.
okay.
Like right now,
Right okay
whatever, dude. Like
okay right
that's why I'm saying, like what you told me, that they're planning on expanding on this scanning more and making it more complex.
yeah. Well, the
That's
scanner
a
in and of
good.
itself. This is part of the thing that remember we were kind of confused, or I was confused because I was like, they mentioned something about having like specific ships only being able to like detect minables and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And I was like, what I had heard is that scanners were supposed to be an item like shield generators, power
change. Yeah,
supply, etc., that you could just change depending on what
physicalized.
you
Yeah,
wanted to do. So I guess I'm still confused at that, but I'm running under the assumption that the scanners you put in your ship are going to be a component that you can modify or change depending on what it is. Because
but this
frankly, I've
again,
heard
that
both.
does not. That would not change what I want. I want you to go through extra effort to get the information.
Yeah,
So
but
some
part of that
scanners might,
extra effort,
sure, but past that, like you
right?
need a scanner that can do it. Okay, so you already done that's a preparation thing. But then once you hunt your potential target down, I want you to technically play cat and mouse, where you send the ping or whatever. The ship receives a ping, knows if they have,
Yeah,
a way of like that they are
and
being scanned.
that is coming in 3.14. Like the ping and the pingy are going to be like
Is it?
basically get notified. Yeah, yeah. That's when
So
they actually said it in this calling all dev.
wait, but like left click on the ship will send a ping.
No, no, no. Specifically that like when you
I just
ping.
called it a ping, whatever the fuck, a signal that
Oh, okay.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm scanning you, and then maybe a little bit of a delay depending on how good of the counter measure you have.
Yeah. Or
Okay,
like
I'm being
maybe
scanned. Fuck.
yeah.
And then maybe your system maybe you can play a minigame and know what's scanning you. Because if I'm in a eclipse, you don't know where the fuck I am, what the fuck I am fully stealthed. I have 3
Yeah.
torps to, and if I know that I can break your ship and fuck you up, then you're done, bro. Like, right? So I think it's very important to know, like these things should be a mini gameplay. In my opinion, I would like them to be.
I
If
think
they're
so
not,
too. Yeah.
it's okay. I'm not saying like this would break. But the medical shit, I wanted to say that, man. Like the medical stuff, if they go too far, I feel like that's one
Yeah.
of those things that can totally break the game for me, and I might be like, I'm not gonna play this.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
think
if it
there's that
will. Like I need to see
no,
it, but
totally. And I think there's that potential in any aspect of the game, right? Like
sure.
we've talked about this a couple times where like, there's definitely a fine line between being complex and offering depth to being so over the top that it's tedious.
And then
Uh,
again, it's personal preference, right? Because some people want that,
Yeah. Well, and
but
that's where again, like that line has to be there too, in that like, for the people who want to dive into it, great, it's there. And then for the people who aren't interested in it, it's still playable, you know?
Yeah,
I don't envy
I
them.
mean, I don't know.
envy
Like some things, I know I don't like already. Like I hate them, but I can. It's the same in any game. Like I
Yeah.
hate things in World of Warcraft, but I can still play it. It doesn't matter. I hate things in Eve, but I can still play it. But then there are games that I cannot play. Right?
Yeah,
There's that
fair.
thing that is a bit too much, and I'm not playing the game. That's it.
Yeah.
Which obviously playing an alpha game and all that, it can happen here as well. We don't know. I just hope it doesn't. If I even live long enough to see the final product.
There ended up being a lot more in scanning than I figured we were just gonna be like, yep, scanning pretty,
Yeah.
move on.
Same.
Didn't I tell you? I told you that even just with like the stuff we had down, we probably could have got 2 hours out of it.
You did, but we are still not at 2 hours and you already did the whole zero effort.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, but we're like not even through the news. Yeah,
Almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is so the last thing that we have
Again,
so
not
this is something
really...
well, this is
Yeah.
important for me, but I did not get enough
You did.
information. So right now, if you go to certain places, let's say you're lawful and you're doing like bounty hunting missions. If you go to, if your target is in, what's the
one
name?
of the security
Either
places.
security, yeah. What's the orbital things? Fuck, man.
Korea?
No.
It's Because Korea, you don't get a...
No, Korea is fine, but the other ones where that you can turn on and off.
Oh, the comlinks.
Comlinks. So if
Yeah.
Comare, yeah. If you go to Comare and your target is there, you get a crime stat. And there's also like places on planetary surface, like bunkers or whatever, and you come close and it's like it's just government property, you know?
Yeah.
Step away and you're like, I'm on your side, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So
Somebody's down in that bunker right now
yeah.
and has already murdered all your guys, but you're gonna criminalize me for going down and trying to stop them.
So they're
Yeah.
fixing that. But no one mentioned, this is something that happened to me and it pissed me off so much. And we talked about this in one of our State of Stanton's, where you get the cargo mission, especially something new. We're pushing new players to do that, to learn how to fly, you know, and how to interact with objects and all that. And then you have to deliver a box into a place where you get crime stat. And then you get the target on your head and someone will come and kill you as a PP player or whatever, hunting down your bounty.
Yeah.
No one mentioned this will be changed. I really hope they just... This is what I'm afraid of. Like, either it works for everything and they just did not feel like they have to mention it, which is okay. Or no avocado tests the fucking... box missions.
That's the box mission because nobody does box missions.
Because they could have done these differently. Like you could definitely do box missions without getting into protected areas in the first place, right? So
I don't know. I think it's probably... I would say that it's probable that it's just universal now. Like
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to mention it, and I'm gonna test this for sure. And
that has to have been an oversight. But I guess that's your point, right? Is it like, if it was an oversight, is it still an oversight in 3.14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is detrimental to new players, and I'm especially vulnerable to this. I want new player to have as good experience as possible. CIG doesn't give a shit about this. It's 100% obvious. And then this just bleeds into it. And it's kind of shitty. So I hope they fix that with it. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I will report because I do cargo missions. Well, not cargo. I can't wait to do cargo missions, but yeah, box missions.
Right? Yeah, me too.
Oh man, that's gonna be good with my Taurus, huh? It's okay. We can do them together. You can fly my Raylan, and I can fly Taurus. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's not like I don't have cargo ships. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I guess I am a hater of I was gonna say, do I hate the Constellation, or is it just... But I think I do.
You hate Constellation more than I hate Drake. It's just
it's just...
You're hiding it somehow, but you're not. It's coming out. You hate Constellation.
There's just so many problems with that ship.
Here's the thing, though. This is such a big problem for us as content creators because Constellation is Chris Roberts' favorite ship. We're gonna, even when we blow up one day, we're never going to be, in mentioned anywhere because you hate his favorite ship. Now you have to live with that. Because Chris is watching. Hi, Chris.
If it's actually his favorite ship, why does it still have the same amount of shields as a Freelancer?
So,
and it's
the first topic.
The
because they might change it. I don't know, man. Why does a fucking MSR not have escape route and what's the name? The
those are legit. Those are also legit.
But, yeah, it's a new ship and all that. So let's hope they bring all the ships to platinum
gold
standard.
Oh yes, platinum standard.
Diamond standard. That's what it is. That. The gold standard is not like it's like goes like bronze, silver, gold. But we still have. That's what it is, dude. I figured it out.
Yeah.
We have
so gold standard doesn't mean finish, right? Yeah. Okay.
We need challenger standard or whatever. Okay, the topics. Let's see if these will be short or not. Even in this episode of Calling All Dev, Richard Tyler was talking about like co-pilot role being
addressed. It's been addressed
always.
A couple times. Yeah.
They obviously want co-pilot to be an important experience.
Well, they want multi-crew to happen. The problem, and this is the
So the question is, are they trying to make multi-crew fun in the wrong seat in the ship? Because what did we have before? So co-pilot is literally a passenger. We have a gunner in what's the name? Turrets. That also is really not a good experience. Even when you're in a ship like a Hurricane, where the gunner is actually most of the firepower, it's not having a control over a ship like that is kind of maybe in some like Hammerhead I guess was fun.
But it can be fun, but it's not. It's still any way you slice it, it's not competitive.
It's like what they did in MSR trailer, right? Like where you're doing something and then
you run to the gun
and they're like she's like, go fend them off or whatever, and then you run into it and like and then go back and do whatever you were doing, right? It's not like a full on job profession, whatever the fuck.
So they keep adding things to the co-pilot. Like this is one of the things that I get, I guess, triggered a little bit on, is they keep saying that missile operator mode is just gonna make multi-crew that much more fun, and it's like,
I think it will not, but I think it can.
No. Yeah, well, yes, I think it's a step towards it, but I think everybody throwing it around is like, oh, now the co-pilot can actually do something. Like, that's okay, that's great, guys, but how are you going to convince somebody to sit in your co-pilot seat,
make it more powerful than
launch
another
the
ship?
odd missile?
Make it more powerful than the other ship. So make it so that when I sit in, you can make it like super simple, as in the moment someone sits in the co-pilot seat, your ship gets a buff, which would be super stupid. But hear me out. Like let's say your ship deals 100 damage, and then when you have someone in co-pilot seat, your ship deals 300 damage, not 200, because that person can be in another ship like yours.
I don't like that idea. I mean, I guess it's a stopgap.
No. But... They will never do this. But what I'm saying, this is bottom line of what needs to happen, right? So you need to have a purpose that will make your ship much more powerful than what the ship is. We all know this, right? It's
well, they are doing something to that effect. We touched on this a little bit before we went live, and that is that coming in 3.14, I think it's in 3.14, fighter craft are not going to have 4 shield quadrants anymore. They just basically have a bubble shield. They have a shield percentage. That's it. Larger ships will still have those 4 shield faces.
Yeah.
Which is going to make them, in theory, a lot more survivable than smaller ships, which is something. I mean, that is kind of a buff. And then when you're sitting in a co-pilot seat, if you're actually able to actively manage those shields, your survivability does increase more. But that's not 314. Like that's
not enough.
You know,
I fly my Hawk and I'm
No.
actively changing the shield location. It's so simple.
Yeah, but you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know, but and I'll tell you another thing. How many people do even know that this exists?
So basically what you're saying is like just managing shields is not enough to make co-pilot fun. I fully agree with you there. Like you're not going to get any argument from me.
So for those who don't know, your shield right now on any ship in the game has 4 directions. It's forward, backwards.
Oh, actually, technically, it's more. I think because you have up and down.
You cannot. You can only, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But if I'm not wrong, on an American keypad, you can use 8, 4, 2, and 6, which literally buffs the shield on one of the 4 sides. Each side also covers parts of top and bottom, kind of. So I guess if you want the most shield top and bottom, which is extremely rare because you're usually either running away from someone or facing someone, if you just press 5, it brings it back, and then I guess it covers most of the...
I thought that was top and bottom as well, but I could be wrong. Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, but that's it. It's like you press a key and it reduces the power and the beef of of 3 shields to buff up one of the shields, right? And it goes like it takes 25% off each, and then it buffs the main one for it, and then you can like keep buffing. You can literally turn off your back shields or whatever but especially with the pace of the gameplay, Maso, like if you're actually doing any dogfighting with another player, the charge and recharge of these shields is so ridiculous that you're going to set it up forward and try to keep, facing that person. Or if you're running away, everything, for lack of a better term, in the butt and just, like run away. So I don't see this as like not even a tiny amount of enhancement to co-pilot seat. And what scares me is that they think there might be.
Well, they think that's the thing. Like they're throwing missile operator mode around as well. Is it making the multi-crew situation in Star Citizen more enjoyable? And that's another thing that I again, like I just don't. It's important and it's a step forward, but it's not all it's trumped up to be. And I'll say the same thing with the shields, to be honest. The main thing I was getting at with the shields is that by maintaining 4 shield faces, it at least makes larger ships more survivable potentially than a smaller ship.
But you just took away something so simple from a pilot and just gave it to someone. It's like
no, I agree. Like I said, it's not, unless they seriously change the way that shields work, it's not going to keep somebody in the co-pilot seat, having fun.
Missile operator though can change everything in my opinion, but we will not. But it could.
How?
And I'm gonna explain. So right now we have missiles and rockets. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, if you fly, Harbinger is a variant with torpedoes, right?
Yeah.
If you sit in a turret of any other ship, you have guns.
Yeah.
If you sit in a turret of Harbinger, it has rockets. So the way the rocket works, it's not a homing missile. So basically you fire it towards the target, and if you hit, you hit. It's just a ballistic
fire.
Almost. Yeah. If you put rockets on all the small ships and missiles on big ships, and if you have you ever seen how tomahawks work? So basically they fire them from a submarine, for example, and then someone is playing a game where they're like but you have like a black and white screen, and you're like telling the missile where to go. I don't know if you've seen that. There's like videos. There's videos of that, like following the train, for example. So the moving target, and then he's like giving the checkpoints for the missile to go. So you can make this a full-on gameplay, and it's for both missiles and torpedoes, like torpedoes as well, because they're slow but they're devastating.
Right.
And if you have no way of but they said already you will be able to switch MOM as a pilot as well. But if there was no way, or if that was so detrimental that you can't do anything while you're doing that, and that person gets their own gameplay and the missiles are very, very strong, I think there you go. Like, then multi-crew immediately gets more important.
Here's the problem. The problem is that if they keep missiles with having a minimum range, that means that most of the time in a close-up dogfight, which is where most dogfights end up, the missile operator mode again is just sitting there twiddling their thumbs until you manage to get distance and you're able to get a lock on fire.
Well, not if you can lock on it after a missile was fired already, as a missile operator. So you can start running away, fire a missile, and then start locking on a target when it's out of the range or whatever within the range.
So what
I'm saying, it can be done properly. It can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun.
So if missile operator mode allowed somebody to like manually like have control over a missile
and score a hit, like you actually work to hit. But also we have to think about it like missiles need to be extremely powerful for this, because it would need to be like a skill check to hit something. But then we also need to think about like the other ship being able to defend from the missiles. So either like shoot down the missile, countermeasures need to work, and stuff like that, right?
Well, the one defense would be evasion too, because we do know that the missiles do have like limited fuel. But the other thing to factor into this as well is price, because again, if you have somebody who is in missile operator mode, that means that missiles basically need to be cheap enough that they can essentially fire them out and use them actively in an engagement without having to really go, do I want to fire this missile? You know, it's $5,000 right here, you know?
Sure. I mean, the pricing needs to be adjusted, but we have that always as an issue. I'm not going to touch on that right now because alpha, I guess. So as long as it's fun and engaging, people will get the missiles. Yeah. You know, it's not that. Like torpedoes are super expensive now still. When there was Xenothreat, how many torpedoes was fired from retaliators? It's like, if it's fun and it makes, you know, engaging gameplay, people are going to do it.
With the cost thing, I'm thinking is more of like more of a long-term thing. But in the short term, I still just don't think that missile operator mode is going to be as fun as the devs and as certain people seem to think it's going to be. I definitely don't think it's going to inspire people to go sit in a co-pilot seat.
Maybe at the beginning to see what it is, and then if it's boring, which I believe it will be.
Yeah,
I can give you more like I fly Connie a lot, and Connie has 48 missiles. It has 2 missile racks that open up, and each has 8, I think, missiles that can. So it's 16 missiles at the same time.
Even the Cutlass has actually quite a few missiles.
And then you can like lock with like multiple missiles and fire them. What if only missile operator can fire multiple missiles? Like, you know, you can make these like things where immediately if you have a co-pilot and missiles on your ship, you can become dangerous, like actually dangerous. Which
I like that idea. I wish that it was like that. It would be awesome. Can you imagine if Cuddies and Connies became like the PvP meta?
Connie on paper is a beast, man. Like the amount of firepower that it has is like ridiculous.
But I specifically mean multi-crewed ones too. So
you know what else?
You know, it's not just people flying backwards and you know, spamming missiles. It's like actually, you know, people like crewed up and dogfighting, and you know.
That's another thing. I can tell you right now, the multi-crew can work. They can make it work tomorrow. And make it most engaging thing ever. They either did not think about it or they don't know how to do it.
Or before they're waiting for other systems.
Freelancer miss, bro. Like, you imagine that?
Yeah.
Fucking
actually,
beast,
that's good,
bro.
Yeah.
So what if every ship, except for the single seaters, they're limited with like I think some single seaters already have too big of a guns. E.g. Talons. Yeah, it's like whoosh. I think single seater should simply not have gun bigger than size 2. That's it, in my opinion. I don't care.
That used to be the way it was, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
but now we
has
have
been kind of like a
Ion
gun
and what's the other one? They have size 8 guns or
7.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, and it like the Gladius used to be all size 2s, I think. The 325, like the 300 series, I think was the same. I
Okay,
think Saber always had 4 size 3s. I think.
here's your multi-crew gameplay. Overnight. Except for single-seater ships that can only have up to size 2 guns, you cannot shoot guns as a pilot. All the weapons are the co-pilot.
That would piss a lot of people off.
Sure.
But...
If you all want to do it, like, you can go with 2 ships. It's fine. You know what I mean? 2 single-seaters, 3 single-seaters. That's fine. But you can only have up to size 2 weapons. If you want to use big guns, you need another person to sit next to you and actually use it.
Yeah. Ultimately, I'm not going to touch the gun size thing at this point, simply because
that's what you need, dude. Like, if you don't change that,
no, you can say we need that because we need it right now, but like, again, long term, if their aim is physicalized damage, the amount of damage that these guns do right now is irrelevant. It literally doesn't matter.
It really does, because it changes this thing of, why would I not have 3 small ships instead of 1 big ship? And for as long as small ships can have as much firepower as a big ship, you don't need a big ship. You're better off with 3 small ships, and that's it.
I don't know.
Until
Personally,
you
I'd argue
limit that, you can't have big ships being useful.
I don't think it's accurate to say that small ships have the same firepower as big ships, because they just don't. But they have an appreciable amount. They can put out enough damage to a larger ship that it doesn't, it doesn't matter that a Talon only has 2 size 4s, whereas a Connie has 4 size 4s, because a Connie can, or a Talon can still just rip a Constellation in half with those 2 size 4s.
Yeah, but like 2 people in Connie are useless compared to 2 people in 2 Talons. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I would say, personally, I don't think it's, but again, I mean, that's kind of where I was going with the physicalized damage thing. I don't think it's necessarily the damage that's the issue. I think it's the survivability that's more the issue.
It's always easier to survive in small agile ships. What do you mean? They're harder to hit, smaller cross-section, signature, whatever.
That's kind of my point,
So then if you don't limit the size of weapons, it will always be better to have multiple small ships. You don't need an engineer. It's like this. The amount of people it needs to be in a big ship, unless it's powerful, is just useless compared to a lot of small ships.
Yes, again, I mean, but the point I'm trying to get at is that with physicalized damage and components, which is the goal that they have asserted that they're going for.
I know.
Ultimately, the size of those guns is irrelevant if these larger ships have ship hulls that are basically able to shrug off size 4s. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, you're talking about Idris
physicalized
or whatever
armor.
The fuck. I'm talking about.
Are you kidding me? Well, I mean, it's obvious that an Idris
small
is
versus
shrug
medium.
off size 4s.
I'm talking about like starting multi-crew versus people soloing more people soloing 1 ship. So let's take freelancers, constellations, MSRs versus Hawks.
Yeah. I in the case of the medium ships, I would say that there's probably I don't know. I think those ships may always kind of struggle with the idea of like, do you take multiple small ships, or
you do understand this will be the meat of your game. Like 90% of the people will fly single player fighters and small medium-sized multi-crew ships. So if you don't allow, this is why what I'm saying in my head at least Makes a lot of sense. The only way to incentivize people to use those ships is to make them more powerful than, the same amount of pilots in single player, single
Yeah.
fighter ships. And they're not doing this. And I think I think it's marketing, like, I don't know, because they want to sell, the medium ship sells for more than a small ship, and that's what it is. Which is kind
No.
of strange. I don't know.
Pretty much any fighter is more than a like a medium ship. Like a Vanguard is
Yeah, but
is more than
Vanguard.
a Constellation Andromeda.
But this is the thing. That's what I'm saying. Vanguard, you should not be able to use guns as a pilot. Someone else needs to use, and then it's a multiplayer ship.
Well, the Vanguard, yeah, I suppose Okay, well let's use this.
You can fly
example.
it, but
a Saber is almost twice what a Cutlass is. Single person fighter, $70 more than a Cutlass.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I something needs to give, but I think the thing that'll, yeah. I mean, ultimately, I guess we're just basically looking at this from two different angles, and it remains to be seen. But I think the Constellation is specifically that level of ship that is really going to. That's going to be that line. They have to get it right with the ship the size of the Constellation for for multi-crew to make sense there. And I just think it'll basically get to a point where it's like, that Constellation can just take so much punishment that, like something like a Talon, it would take them an hour maybe, or not even necessarily an hour. I'm just throwing out a number, but like a long time to bring down a Constellation. Even with the twin size fours, like that's kind of where
So that would mean that another Constellation will take half that time to destroy a Constellation.
Yeah, isn't that kind of? And in a situation where a Constellation is getting mobbed by, let's say, 2 or 3 Talons, well, yeah, I mean, like you're being outnumbered there essentially. Like it's the fact. Yeah,
no, I'm not trying to dispute that. The problem is, like, why are these people in 3 Talons and not in 1 Constellation?
Yeah, I think the other thing there is going to be range there as well, right? Like if you are undertaking a mission that's going to take you across the solar system and back a couple times, like, yeah, you can take 3 Talons, but you're going to have to stop for fuel like 4 times, to do something like that.
Yeah, but this is again like almost like single player scenario.
Yeah. Wait, what do
you
you mean?
making? Well, you're not making it more fun. Then we're gonna go with 3 Constellations, whatever. Because I'm not having fun being in your Constellation because I have nothing to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
You need to make a co-pilot useful, or I don't know, just scrap the idea of multi-crew. I don't know.
Oh God, please don't. I really want multi-crew to be fun.
Yeah, but you're against. I gave you the idea, and you're like, I don't know about that. But what's your idea? Like, how are you going to make multi-crew function?
Well, no, I'm the only thing I'm against is basically just like nerfing all single. I just don't think that's. I don't think that's gonna work. Just nerfing all the weapon sizes. I think that'd work temporarily, but it's not a long-term solution. And I think the long-term solution is just is adding multiple of these operator modes and power and resource management and and kind of stuff like that, physicalized damage and repair. Like that's the stuff that's going to make multi-crew fun. It's not just missile operator mode. It's missile operator mode, scanning mode, like engineer mode.
Sure, but
like I said, like repair.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of places for multi-crew for sure, like outside of combat scenarios, I'm sure, for other professions or whatever the fuck. But like in this particular one, that is bread and butter of your spaceship game. I don't know, man. Like in real life, we have treaties that limit the amount of guns per ship class, and it works. You know, we're using all kinds of ships, and they're multi-crewed. They're not these.
Yeah. But those will, again, like when you get into the bigger ones, I don't think, like, I think those will kind of, like, anything larger than a constellation, I think is like, you know, like
What?
that I don't think will be as much of a problem. You know,
Anything larger than constellation. Give me an example.
what do you mean, like? Well, I guess that is that larger than a constellation? I thought it was about the same size.
I don't know. Give me an example.
I'm thinking like basically Caterpillar and above. Like Caterpillars are already, you know, well, when weapons and stuff are functioning and shield holes are not there, like they're already a fairly difficult nut to crack with a single ship. Again, I'm going back to survivability. I suppose that's not really the topic.
No.
The topic is fun.
No, because it's still a single player ship, right? If you could fly Caterpillar and you cannot do anything about, dude, if you ever watch any TV shows or fucking movies, sci-fi, there's always a dedicated pilot if there's more than one seat in the ship.
Yeah.
Like if you're flying a single seater, you have to do everything on your own. The moment you get out of single seater, person who flies a ship. And that's usually fun and engaging, especially if there's like positional combat and whatnot. The other person does other things. So what's, you know, so just give the guns to it. Dude, I was flying, I fly a Retaliator. I had it full of people and just flying and thinking about how they are being positioned, allowing them to score a good hit by me positioning properly against the other ship. I did this in a Hammerhead as well. It's fucking fun. It's fun because I have to think about like 7 other turrets where people are and someone's yelling at me, dude, I can't hit, you know, and then I have to like, I'm like, calm down, we have a ship on the other side where 3 of them are shooting. It's so engaging. And guess what? I can't do shit. I can just fly my ship. That's it.
Yeah.
So just do that for everything. Constellation included. Fuck it. Like, you know, I'm flying a ship. I can't shoot weapons. That's it. All the weapons that are gimbaled, by the way, if you're flying, it's like the idea of gimbaled weapon is not that it's auto-tracking your target. It's that it can shoot to the side as well. And guess what? I can't fly a ship forward and shoot like someone there.
I was actually just going to say, like in attack helicopters today, there's a person who literally just does guns and missiles.
Of course.
And then the other person is concentrating on flying.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's something to that. But yeah, I don't know. It's getting really hot in here, and I don't know what else I can add to this. Like, how can Copilot be fun?
Okay.
I don't know. We need more systems. And that was basically my point, is that like the systems that they're dusting off here in 3.14, people seem to think are just going to like magically make multi-crew fun, and I just don't think it's the case. You know, I think those are important steps, and they're important cogs, you know, in the multi-crew gameplay, but they're not going to magically make people want to sit in a Copilot seat. We need more, you know, before we get there. I don't know what the answer is.
Okay, I disagree with you 100%, but that's fine. I don't think new systems will make it more fun. They could, but I think we have more than enough to make it fun if they want to. But agree to disagree, I guess. That's
again, like you're like, yes, they could do changes right now that would, you know, but the reason they aren't is the same that they do this with everything else. It's that they are working towards something, clearly. We just have no fucking clue what it is. They probably don't even know what it is, but
well, then make it good and work around that. Fucking, I don't know. It's boring.
Again, I mean, there's been a bunch of different videos that have kind of touched, that have talked literally about the different styles of like just making it fun and then building around it, like Elite, or, you know, trying to do something and build it from the ground up. And that's kind of the Star Citizen way of doing it. And it's really just like, I don't know. I think the difference is clear there, you know. But yeah.
All right. Well, this is quite simple. We talked about this a little bit. How important is bed logging for gameplay? I think like this is one of those things when this starts working, I will just simply enjoy gameplay so much more because it will.
Yeah.
If I can
So
log
much-
off in my bed and know 100% I'm gonna log back in where I was.
So
And-
much less time it's spent in elevators.
And we're gonna build like connection to our ships in such a different way because the moment this works, my ship is my home, and I do this already, and it's pissing me off when I like lose my ships to that or spawn in fucking Stanton. I mean the sun in the middle of the map, whatever. Man, I just really, I don't know, dude. Like, it's gonna change everything for me. Like, and I've said this before, like, if that works properly, I don't mind going to the planets when I have to. If I,
Exactly. Yeah. I think we even kind of like we even had this as a
we
conversation.
touched on it,
Yeah, a little while back because I mean, I don't mind that there are physicalized elevators and trains in the cities and stuff like that because it is immersive and it does put you in that universe. You know what I mean? The problem is that you're
pushed into them too often.
You're pushed into them too often, right? Exactly. Yeah, and like so how important is bed logging for gameplay? Really fucking important.
That's what sells the game as well. Like when I've heard that, hey, you log out of the game in the bed. I was intrigued by that. Then already I had questions like, what, does my ship stay there or not? And
this upcoming Stanton Gossip, I have a video to share from the perspective of somebody who, again, is coming from Elite Dangerous to Star Citizen. And it's one of the things she says, I think, if not in the first video, then definitely in the second video of her series, is that, she was so stoked at the idea that she'd like go back into the interior of her ship, lay down in bed and log off, and then to find that it's not reliable was like a serious bummer for her. She was like,
same for me.
Yeah, it is a cool thing, I
think if this will sound crazy, but like if they allowed me to arrange my ship the way I want to, like add some changes to the interior, leave some things there, add some things there, and log out and in, I would care more for my ship, would try not to lose it. I would be super happy not to have to fucking spawn in the same room every day.
Physicalized inventories are going to do that though, hey? Like if you've got stuff on your ship, and I mean, I know, okay, 30K is whatever, we've already been over that. That's, but like with those out of the way, if you've got your home essentially set up on your ship, you're going to care a lot more about that. You're not just going to fight until you disintegrate,
And you're going to love your ship, dude.
Yeah. You know what actually is kind of interesting? Was it you who was telling me Alyssiana at one point, this was patches and patches and patches ago, was basically spending almost an entire patch on her 890 jump and not going into a city ever, except on very rare occasions where she needed to.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to stack up my ship with food, and like I used to fly 300 series because it has a fridge and it has a coffee maker. So I would buy like snacks and whatnot, fill my fridge with it. It was such a chore because they go all over the place when you drop them, and then I have hydration there, and I just don't want to go back to the city ever again. I want to log out in it, come back to it, and like 7 days later, I want to go back to even if I'm doing something around Stanton, I don't care, man. Like it's a small camper, but that's my home, dude. I feel good about it.
It's actually kind of interesting. Dig That did a podcast, and in the episode he had Salty Mike on, he had Space Tomato on there, stuff like that. And one of the questions that they asked was like, are you going to be, a nomad? Are you going to live in a city? Are you going to be halfway in between? And it was, I think it was Mike and Space Tomato both were just like, no, I'm as soon as I could just be out on my ship, I'm,
That's it, dude. That's a dream.
But
I can have a piece of land somewhere on some moon where I can have a farm that I have to visit once in a while.
Or a hangar where you can stash your
or
extra
a hangar.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm living on my ship, dude, and this is why like Phoenix is one of the options for me. I was hoping that MSR will be, but it's very important for me how the interior looks. I think Raylan would be one of the options, but I just don't enjoy
You don't
having.
like that style.
Yeah.
You were right though, in that it is like, at least from the concept, it's like very much set up to be that kind of like home away from home kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So
So,
yes, very
we
important.
agree it's very important. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so the next one, I do like PvP, but I gave up on it kind of because of the desync and just like, you know what it is? More than desync, investing into getting better at PvP as someone who avidly plays PvP in all the MMOs, except for fucking Elder Scrolls Online because 3 sides. Elder Scrolls Online, please bring Arena and I'll be back like streaming that game or something where I have side versus side. Relearning PvP is just not something I want to go into right now, because like massive changes can like right now we're expecting people who are playing PvP to have to go through the whole learning process, which kind of breaks my heart, because you remember Noodle was doing this like school for PvP.
Yeah.
A couple months ago. I love that. That's so good. Mike attended and whatnot. It's so good. And then now everything that you've learned is going to be scrapped probably.
Yep.
With the next patch. So I'm not willing to go through that. But in general, I'm very interested in PvP. Like in a game like this, I want that to be a side element that, you know, will make a big difference for someone who is willing to engage into it. We're getting clouds. The actual fucking clouds on Horizon, and I've heard people being excited about like dogfighting in the clouds. I want to see, like, I want to watch a lot of streams. That's for sure. I want to see if it's actually going to make any difference. Right now, the only time I saw terrain be very, very important in the dogfight is Darklaw. I attacked him a couple of times during my streams. I was like, oh shit, it's Darklaw, because you can see like the name of whatever.
Yeah.
And then my folks will go to his stream and check what he's doing, because they know I'm gonna get blown into pieces. So I would still go and attack him, and he's usually on Daymar, and he's using the terrain so well. Like he's gonna hide behind the you know what, mountains or whatever, you know, like you have canyons and whatnot, and just gonna smack you like out of nowhere. He's really good at it. And also I've seen Berks like hide behind, like if someone fires missiles to him,
Noodle talks about that too. Yeah, just like
hide behind the asteroid or whatever, if they're like, you know, on yellow or something like that. I've seen it. I mean, it works and it's kind of fun. I wonder if this will make any difference.
I wanted to, but I just, because it would be epic, right? Like big columns of clouds and stuff like that, and being able to sneak in behind them. But I don't think it's going to right now, and I don't know if it's ever
the
going
marker,
to.
Right?
That's exactly it. Like, and here's the thing. I was just thinking about it. Like, from a scientific perspective, is there any reason why you might lose a target lock if somebody goes into the clouds? I don't think so, because radar's probably still going to go through there. You're definitely going to see thermals through clouds. You know, like you're probably still going to be able to see their EM, unless it's like a storm cloud or something that has a bunch of lightning going on. But at the same time, I hope they just hand wave it. And I think it would be amazing as if you basically were able to duck behind cloud cover and lose a target lock. Just for sheer gameplay, I think it would be interesting and fun if you had to like hunt people through the clouds, or if it just like reduced the range you could be detected at to like a very close range. So if you followed somebody in and you're right on their tail, you're still going to have a bead on them. But if they manage to like, you know, get some distance on you somehow or something like that, you know, I don't care if it doesn't make sense. It would make things so much more fun if it became kind of like this like cat and mouse, like hunting kind of through the clouds and stuff like that. I just don't think
the problem with this is I see your excitement, and I can agree except for like in reality, people are escaping PP situations too easy right now, and then add
Yes.
clouds so that
Yeah.
it's even worse. So
Yeah.
one thing that
for
scares me about the clouds, and we talked about this already, is the dark side of the planet. And I kind of hope that they're gonna also hand wave Eum or whatever, make the what's the name, Crusader kind of transparent, so that the sun goes through, and the whole Crusader is. Because, dude, I really let's see, but I think I'm gonna get so pissed off and frustrated. I'm gonna probably like stop playing the game because of this. If I go into a planet that is only clouds and it's dark, and the lights are ridiculously disgusting already now. Like the lights right now are not helping you. Whenever you are, and I'm sick of people saying that's realistic or whatever. So if you go anywhere now and turn on your lights, you just see a clutter of bullshit in front of you if you're flying. Like there's no, they don't make it any better. So
yeah, okay. So like that does make sense if you're going through clouds or dust or something like that. The thing that's not realistic is that there's no other visual modes or any other sensors or something. So just to put this in perspective, so you're worried that like if you're coming in on the dark side
I will
of
not see
Crusade or
anything.
whatever, you won't see anything? Yeah.
Already I have that problem like everywhere. If I
And you're
if
thinking
I do
like
3D
you're worried about like losing altitude and not noticing it or
I
something?
am worried
or...
about not enjoying this because right now I do if I do 2 missions with the quantum sensitive cargo and everything I do is in the fucking pitch black darkness, it's a shitty gameplay. And if I turn on my lights, nothing changes. I just can't see in front of myself at all, and that's it.
So basically, it's going to be like that. But
Well, fuck
I
that.
really, what I would like to see is different vision modes, like low light or thermals or stuff like that, where you can actually switch to things where you can see stuff. You know, like, and they have said that they plan on doing that. It's just, again, it's obviously not a high priority. Yeah. But that I think is the more interesting way to do it.
Really not enjoyable right now. The way it is right
The
now,
other thing,
it's
you know what? The other thing that they don't really do very well in this is, and this is kind of off topic, I guess, is that when you are on the other side, you know, when the sun is blocked out, you still are getting light from starlight, you know, potentially from moons and stuff like
Dude,
that as well.
I go
There's
out
no-
every night. If there's a full moon
Yeah.
outside, I don't need any lights.
Yeah,
Especially I
well,
walk around the lake, everything's fucking visible. You know what I mean?
even without that, you know, like if you're in pitch black or whatever, and it's open skies above you, like the stars are still plenty bright, you know.
There's
that's something
many
that,
things. I'm a
so that I
photographer,
think is
so it's all about
so
light,
that I
right?
think is probably, yeah, that is something that I think, like, you know, like hopefully as the lighting tech, you know, evolves a bit, there is a little bit more of that ambient light that you get, right?
Well, right
Because
now the skies are a JPEG, and it's like
yeah,
it's on repeat. You can see the
and
same
the
like
only
nebula.
source of light is that star in the center, right? So that's something I could see changing at some point. The other thing, like I said, we need, and this is something, again, we've been asking for a long time, is like low light or thermal vision and stuff like that. And I think the combination of like lighting passes and those two things,
Anything,
hopefully,
man. Like right now,
yeah.
to me, that's
Yeah.
one of those reasons. Like running through the same fucking, way to get to my ship every couple of, tens of minutes or whatever, and flying in the pitch black darkness all the time, whatever I'm doing, is just like making me not want to play the game. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, I know they don't care about this. It's not a priority or whatever, but like, it's
I don't even think it's necessarily, again, like that they don't care. It's just that, you know, it's a bandwidth kind of a thing, right? But
when I say don't care, I mean like for players like me who are frustrated by this, not the actual thing. I'm sure that's not the. Or you know what? I don't know if that's the idea. Maybe they want to keep it like that. I don't know, man. Like There are games where I really had an issue. Like World of Warcraft has a real life day and night cycle, and that means that while I was working, I would always
Yeah.
play at night. And
Yeah.
I stopped playing after like 3 months. I was like, I'm done, man. I did not see sun or blue skies in this game in like 3 months. How stupid is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like immersion. It's not immersion if you can only play, at this, and this might happen in Star Citizen as well, where if you're playing at the same time, and guess what? A lot of people are playing at the same time of the day. So they're gonna have like the same fucking weather conditions over and over again. Maybe it's gonna be different in Star Citizen, but I don't.
Well, in Star Citizen, they've said that their day-night cycle in Stanton, anyways, is like, what did they say? I think 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Most of their planets. So I think it'll be about the same thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I did not expect this.
It's not really cloud PvP, but yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm really curious if that's gonna change anything. I'm not gonna engage into PvP. Like I don't have any intention of doing that right now. Later down the road, for sure, yes, I'm interested in that a lot. But I'm gonna watch some of the PvP streamers more this patch and see if, well, the upcoming patch, and see if they're going to actually PvP now there on like around the horizon or whatever. That's another thing, like we touched on this, but I don't know if they're gonna add any of the points of interest around the horizon with the first iteration.
I think they said that there weren't gonna be, but yeah.
Wait, like with first iteration or like at all?
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Okay. Basically. Yeah, they mentioned that they weren't going to do it, but I don't remember if it was a.
I mean, it's like R-Corp has a bunch of areas that you can go to, but there's nothing there. Like not even what's the box missions or anything. Like these places are just like useless spots on the planet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were about to say something.
I'm just like I'm burning right out. I'm like, it's
all right. Well, then let's. You want to skip the imagination, or you want to go through it? It's up to you. I don't want to push you.
What time are we at right now?
2:46.
46. I already did 0 effort. Well,
yeah, that's the last thing.
It's probably going to be a good conversation, anyways. But you can see I'm getting shinier and shinier.
Yep. The sides have changed. I have chaos outside, and it's actually kind of nice here. But yeah.
Main thing is like with the windows closed, even though because we have like central AC or whatever, but the thermostat's downstairs. So while it's at like temperature downstairs, up here, especially because I have to close the door so I don't get pets and and other destructive forces stomping in and out of here, I have to close it, so it gets hot.
And hot air comes up anyways, so
yeah.
Anyways, okay, so our imagination station is professions, and we're not talking about combat, which is actually like I don't know. We're what can you tell me if what professions have been confirmed, kind of? As in, like, not what we have right now. I'm not talking about like mining.
What are we considering?
For example, farming.
Okay, yes, they did confirm that. Todd Pappy did.
So those like side things that some people for sure will focus on, right? I've been playing Final Fantasy lately, but my highest level is Fisher. So the game was definitely not designed for you to be a fisherman like all the time, but I did not find anything else that's fun, so I'm doing it. But so that way, I don't think like mining is definitely a profession, but that's like a main profession. I don't know if something like farming would be. I am pretty sure that we're not going to have any manufacturing, as in like armor, guns, ship parts. I would be really surprised
that as part of base building, you will be able to build factories, but they have said for sure that you won't be able to build ships. But we also don't know how much is going to be involved in that factory, right? Like, is it going to be is it just a factory that you get crew to run and then it produces stuff, or is it its own game? We don't know that yet.
So the problem with like crafting shit is brands, right? So we talked about brands already, and everything is branded and made by the game itself. So unlike in EVE Online, where every ship is being built by a player, here we either buy them for real money or in game store. So what I'm seeing is like, if you have a factory, I'm assuming you're going to be able to use resources and like kind of pack them or something. I don't even know. Like how what is a factory if you cannot create anything useful, kind of.
I'm again, like, this is something that I'm not really sure of, but what I could see actually being something useful is like value added kind of a thing. So even if you're not necessarily building guns or missiles or, you know, stuff or components for your ship or whatever, if you're able to, let's say, like, take minerals that would give you this much if you just sold the minerals and build consumer goods or something like that, you know, like a higher value cargo. It's not crafting, but it's
that's like reprocessing or whatever, and that's how I see it. I think all the professions will be like that, except for maybe food. But I think in the same way, like if you have a farm, like again, guys, this is Imagination Station, so it's not like we know this or anything. But I also kind of feel like, okay, we have Torpedo Burrito, right? So that's a brand in game. They need, I don't know, like pork, salad, you know, whatever, like ingredients to make them. So I'm assuming you're gonna be able to like grow stuff and then sell it to these big companies that are like supplying the world, rather than making anything yourself. Because I even think that I don't want them to do that. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but like, I don't want Minecraft in Star Citizen. I love housing in a lot of games, but I don't think I think housing in game like Star Citizen can potentially break a lot of immersion. Like people can make, you know what I mean? Like, I think housing, for example, will be what's the name of the ship? The
Pioneer.
Pioneer, yeah. I think there's gonna be like pre-made sets of house components or whatever, and then, you know, you I guess you invest materials into it and then it builds it or whatever. I don't think we're gonna be doing that on our own.
Again, that's one of those things where it's like, I don't even think they have an idea yet.
I don't think so either, but that's imagination,
again, like,
right?
yeah, and I'm not like I'm not throwing that out there as shade or whatever, because, you know,
no, yeah,
like, it's, you know, like, it takes time to build this shit out and stuff like that.
But what would you want? Would you want people to freely build, like in No Man's Sky, for example?
No, I think you're right in saying that. I think it'll probably be prefabbed modules.
Yeah.
And I think you'll have choice about like what prefabbed modules and what style potentially even you want to build. Like, so I wouldn't say it's like, you know, like you can only build the outposts that are on planets right now, you know, like I think they're like, especially what they've been showing us with like the like the
whatever housing module,
colonial outposts and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it'll be stuff like that.
It would make sense to me if you have a consolidated outland, you know, ship builder, that it can only fabricate certain, you know, type of a house, because it's almost like
maybe
I don't know, blueprint or whatever. But like, if someone has Banu, whatever, you know, hub build or whatever, it's going to be completely different, so that you would like ask someone who has that and pay them to make
okay, so the Pioneer would be able to have like a modular kind of a thing that builds different styles of,
I think all of them well, again, I think all of them will be modular, but I would hope that we have more than Pioneer, so that like Pioneer always builds what we have right now, like Rayari stations and whatnot. So that style, obviously, like modules will be different, right? Like as what we have right now. But then if you have Aegis builder, they build whatever structures we have on Terra, for example. I'm like, it's like, you know what I mean, like that style of structures, whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever the company comes from, whatever the fuck. Like, maybe that's too linear.
I think it's a
kind
little
of.
bit. Yeah. Like I think I like the idea of the Pioneer being able to have multiple, styles that it can build.
That'd be such a good gameplay as well, right? Like if you can go to different
Yeah.
planets and like buy blueprints, and then having a bulletin board or something like.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have these styles if people want
Yeah.
to buy.
Or people could could say, like they could put out a beacon that says like, basically looking for somebody to build this
Bounty
style,
yeah.
this location, and then basically whoever can actually do that can take the mission and do that. I do think like I think there probably will be end up being like some sort of a mini game in the layout of things. Because there's gonna have to be something, like some sort of UI involved in like where you place them and stuff like that. Oh,
Dual universe system seems to be working.
no. I mean, in the actual building of them.
Okay.
So it's like placing the buildings, and where they are and lined
I
up.
hope so.
Like
Yeah. So you have like part of a land, whatever, and then you will tell that person, "Hey, I want it here," right? And maybe
Yeah. And I don't know if because they've talked about like command level views and stuff like that too for like fleet engagements, so somebody be able to go into they called it more of I think that they mentioned this specifically, but they like more of an RTS kind of a mode, and I could see something like that for like building, basically like a separate UI basically. But what I was gonna say is like, what if with base building, how are they gonna do like terrain modification? Like if you wanted to like flatten a place out, because like they already have that in their editors. Yeah, like, but is a Pioneer gonna be able to do that, or is it gonna be like a whole other?
I mean,
thing?
that can be so misused, dude. Like,
yeah,
someone's gonna go and make a hole through the planet. I mean,
well, that's just flat out not going to be possible, because they've said like their planets aren't voxel based, so it's not like Dual Universe where you can just like dig, right?
Okay.
Like it's the planet is a shell, and there's like basically algorithms they use to kind of like.
Oh, I know. I've been inside the shell.
Yeah, I think we all have. Yeah. At one point, if you've played Star Citizen for any length of time, you've fallen through that planet at some point. But
that kind of sucks, because I always imagine if we have like physicalized like housing and all that I will be able to have like an underground shelter or something like that.
Yeah, that's possible still though, right? Because because you don't dig that out necessarily, right? Like you can put
and then like
room,
lower it, right?
Yeah, and then like lower it down or whatever, and then that room is there. I mean, clearly that's possible because we have the underground bunkers, right?
Okay, so I'll bring up Eve again. Believe it or not, Eve has planet-side gameplay. I don't know if you know about this.
No, I didn't know.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing in Star Citizen, because there is. So basically, what you do is don't. I never did this. I just saw other people do it, and like I know how it looks like, but I don't know how it works exactly. But you cannot land on a planet in Eve. So basically, you choose a planet, and then you get the new interface with like, this is beautiful. Like, you see the planet, and then you choose like the location, and then you build like a plant there, and like then you like make a net of like whatever dots that are extracting and creating resources, and then you come and pick it up with your ship, and then you go and sell it or whatever. It's like resource management game or something like that. Would you be like super pissed off or surprised if Star Citizen did something like that, where you have your set of buildings or whatever, but you can't really live in them?
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't, because I don't want this. To be fair, I want hangars and hubs, and I don't want to build a base in Star Citizen. Like in general, I like this idea, but I don't like it in Star Citizen.
But why not allow people to do that if they want to do that?
Because I don't like it. That's my perspective, right? Like it's not like
you don't have to, like you don't have to build a base, but like,
well, if
you
I have
know.
an option, I will do it though. That's the problem. I don't want to see other people say, and I think that's one of those things where I'm afraid they're gonna go too much into, you know, the details or like base to, you know, base attacking, defending, and stuff like that. And I'm really not looking into it at all. Like I think
right.
yeah.
So you're kind of thinking like if there's too much emphasis on base building and there's too much available customization, it'll basically just resort to like, you know, orgs basically taking on other orgs, and it's all about like, you know, defending your base against people who are trying to take your base, and it becomes all focused around bases instead of.
I think it could easily. I've seen. Okay, so in Elder Scrolls, you buy a pre-made house, and then you can invest hours and hours in making it to your own liking, like interior, exterior, everything. But that's not a game. Like a game is an you know, an MMO with raids and dungeons and quests and exploration and whatever the fuck, you know, PvE, PvP. You would be surprised how much people pay attention to house. And me even, like I got the house. It's like super big and expensive. Got it for free. And instead of like decorating the house, with interior housing items, I made a cruise ship. That's how, you know, like when you give people, you know, I don't want Star Citizen to be Lego, you know. I love Lego, don't get me wrong, but like I'm afraid that might take away a lot from the actual spaceship. Man, I love spaceships, dude. Like I want everyone to be on spaceships, you know.
Yeah, but not everybody wants to be in spaceships.
Can go play another game.
Like I don't want to. Well, that was kind of the whole point of Star Citizen, though, is that there's something for, quote unquote, something for everyone. Even though, like, let's be honest, it's never realistic.
Yeah, I think that's one of the Chris Roberts and the clouds thing.
But I don't know. At the same time, like, I hate base building stuff. Like I like in a game like
to build base environment.
Dual universe, yeah, stuff like that with like creative building, like where I can actually build destruction and stuff like that. Sure, but like decorating the interior.
Well, I found a way around it, man. I made a fucking full basketball court outside of one of the houses where you're not supposed to build at all. I made a cruise ship. I made an aqua park.
I just mean like with the games, like with the games where you can customize your like. I've never really been into that, and you know I don't have no problem with the people who do. It's same like, for example, Star Wars: The Old Republic. You can build houses and like decorate the interiors for all your. I think only
World of Warcraft is the only one that doesn't have it. They tried with Garrisons and that's it.
Yeah. They sort of did that with Garrisons, but not really. Like at least in there, it affected parts of your game to an extent, which I liked. But yeah, I don't know. I think you're right in saying that there's maybe some risk in saying that there's, you know, like it becomes too much about bases. But also on the other side of that, like how cool would it be to see like Star Wars Galaxies style, you know, like impromptu cities basically springing up.
I don't think it would be cool
on planets like that. I think it'd be awesome.
I think the community that plays games nowadays is nowhere near, you know, that mindset that was back then. And I don't think it would be fun at all. Everyone's been maxing everything, dude. That's all that matters. Like it's crazy.
I played in even like creative build games like Minecraft or whatever, like online with mods and stuff like that, where they actually have like city customization and stuff like that. It's fun to build in a city, man.
Yes.
Eco, same way actually. Like, yeah, okay, you can build all off on your own little things, but it's way cooler to build in a city.
Yes, you know? But that's the problem. Like, if you allow that amount of customization, you will turn Star Citizen into Minecraft.
For the people who want to play that, not everybody does. And even then, if those people are creating something cool, then if you wanted to just
what if they're creating something uncool?
Like what?
like dick towers. We're
I'm not
laughing
talking
at, like people are going to
I'm
do
laughing. Yes, it's called time to penis. It's a well-known
that. There
phenomenon.
you go.
TTP.
Boobs as well.
But here's the thing. I'm not talking about turning StarCraft or Star Citizen into Minecraft insofar as like fully customizable builds, but being able to like like we already said, like with pre-made modules or whatever, like being able to set up settlements with an organization or something like that, so that your organization has like a home base on a planet. I love that idea. I think that's really cool.
Wouldn't it be more cool if your organization's base was in Idris or something like that?
The organization that I'm in is way bigger than that, and you know,
3 javelins.
Bigger.
And get the fucking bangle, you know.
Again, like I just like I don't think there's anything to lose. I think it'll just add color and interest, you know. And if it ends up being like the only thing I think that would make it not fun is if like you said, it ended up being like a min-maxy thing where you know, like you were just, in order to really min-max your gameplay, you had to go build your own personal base and you had to have this and this meta setup, you know, and everybody just basically ended up like scattering and hunkering down in their own little bases, and, you know, hoping that somebody didn't find their base and raid their base. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be fun. That would be lame.
Yeah,
But
I guess. Yeah.
the idea of like of like org cities and org bases, especially if Quanta ended up like being able to like integrate with that, and you had like NPCs basically potentially coming in and settling or trading in and out of there. I just think it would be neat, man.
You're just setting really 20 more years to development of this game right now.
It's imagination station. It's literally the point.
Well, that's not a point. The point, we don't want to extend
I think
the development.
as far as the NPCs settling and shit like that, like that's already essentially in with Quanta. They've already said that NPCs will move around based on economics and stuff like that, you know?
So, you know, in real life, we're not building that many houses anymore. Like, it's more like you go and buy someone else's house, you go and buy someone else's apartment.
Maybe in your city, man. If you look outside, I can see.
Yeah, but not like, okay, wait. But like, there was a time when there was a time on this planet when there were no houses, right? People were like hiding in shelters, whatever the fuck. And then we started building whatever. We started building our own shelters. Then we started building houses, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we started building bigger buildings and then skyscrapers and whatever the fuck, right? So right now, like when you look back, because we have so many places to live already, we're kind of, people are still building, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a rare occurrence than like long ago. Like a lot of people just buy a house and then maybe like change it to their liking, even like add to it from the outside floor.
I think that really depends on where you live.
I think that's global, man. Like obviously people build here as well, dude. But like not, you know, like if you look at this city, I don't know, like 50, 100 years ago, you can see that, you know, we were building more because I don't know.
Not here. Yeah, definitely not here. Like literally, I used to be able to look out my window here and it was just trees. Now it's just packed with houses, and you go that way, bang.
Okay, do you think that's going to be a thing then? Like, do you think people build stuff and then just sell it to those who don't want to build it?
Maybe.
There's a profession.
You know what? Yeah, I was just going to say, like, as far as a profession goes, like, I would like that personally, because I don't want to do all the interior decoration and shit. If I could just buy something that was like functional and cool.
We have in Elder Scrolls Online, we have like people who decorate your house. So they cannot build it, but you like give them permission, and it literally, game allows you to give someone a decorator role in your house.
Cool. I like that idea personally. I used to do that in a Minecraft server, because I always used to build giant spaceships, like a floating that people would live basically. Like, yeah. those were always my home. I would always have this like giant capital ship basically that I built and made look like a cool capital ship or something. And it got to a point on my server where like people would be like, "Oh man, this is sweet. Can you build one for me?" So that was literally how I made my money on that server, was just going and building spaceships for people.
There you go.
You know? So I like that idea. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously there's risk, but yeah, that's any game system, right? Like
The reason I'm bringing up the housing is because I kind of am afraid that all of these side professions. So when I say side profession, I mean like mining is obviously tied to your ship or a vehicle that you have, and the whole process around it is built around ships. I think without housing we cannot have the side, and I don't know what else can we have. Like you can have, I'm just like, maybe my imagination here kind of like slows down, but like we can have farming of animals and plants. Obviously that was announced already, I think, even on board some ships, like Endeavor has
the biospheres,
biodome, and then we can have production or reprocessing of raw materials into SU boxes of something, and then trading it. We can have like interior decoration for sure. We will have that, if not in game, basically. Then your hubs, hangars, and ships.
Hangars,
obviously.
yeah. With those coming in whenever. I mean, somewhat near future. Yeah. So what are you saying? You're saying that
what else can we have? Like I don't even know what else would be like a profession like that, like that we could explore even. It's just like nothing else crosses my mind.
We're not talking about stuff like the other professions like salvage, like personnel transport, like those sorts of things, or...
No, because these are like the ship based things, like these are like the regular stuff that we have anyways. I'm literally like, okay, let's take World of Warcraft for example as well. So you have your class, then you have two main professions, like you can be a tailor and enchanter, but then also have like cooking, salvage, fishing.
That's so like salvage would be more of your class kind of a thing, and
yeah, that's something you specialize your ships for, whatever the fuck,
Right, yeah.
So maybe something like fishing. Like, I would love that. Or fishing or hunting. Like, maybe...
I think it's... Yeah, they've said for sure that hunting will be a thing.
Remember the guy with Mike Sensor that called that wants to fucking hunt for his skins? Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
I can't believe you're touching on hunting now.
I think fishing will be like... I mean, that's a given. There's going to be fishing.
Yeah, you think so? You just made my day, dude. I want fishing. Like, that. It's so funny. I never fish in real life, but like, I love fishing games.
Boat physics. They're doing boat physics. So obviously they're going to do fishing. Like...
They need to make fish first because we don't have anything right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me RDO, like...
You're kind of right, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, will cooking be... I mean, they have... There's 2 out of 3 of their main lore team have said that they're foodies. Like
the problem with cooking, though, is we have brands again. So there's so much food that you can buy, and I don't know if you remember when there was like the last event, I found that like standee with like different teas, 4 different kinds of fruits or 6. We have so much food already that's being sold. So I see, like, I don't know, I maybe will be able to cook,
I think you might be able to, because like they already have all this tech going into the like procedural mess hall tech, like for Squadron 42. So like people go up and like like not everybody's plate comes out the same, right? Like, so no, that's
have a restaurant where NPCs are going to come into if you have cooking. That'd be fucking crazy. Like, see, that's one of those like side things that just crossed my mind. Like. Yeah, you can have something like that, or maybe you can have a hotel if you're building. Or
you could have a stall on like one of the Kraken privateers or whatever. Like food stall.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But then I guess you would like just order food in that situation. Well,
maybe I don't know. Again, like I mean, this is so long term. Imagine I'm under no illusions that we'll see like cooking anytime soon. But I could see it.
I could see like hotel or restaurant as like a and like have hired NPCs, and that's like your passive income. If we want, do we want to have passive income?
I have no problem necessarily with it so long as it's balanced decently.
Because we're gonna
But
have
this is
passive
the thing.
impact anyways, right? If you're
Well,
if you're an
yeah.
org leader, you know,
Yeah, that passive income is going to come via like org taxes or
yeah.
whatever. But the income in the first place is earned by act. And this is a thing that's weird because they've gone back and forth on this a couple times as well. They've said, um, no, we absolutely don't want passive income, and then they talked about player-owned factories, and it's
Well, maybe it's
like
not passive. So player on factory could technically be passive income, which I am looking like as an option. But it also might be just like mining, like you have to be there and actually do things in order for factory to produce something. In which case,
yeah,
you have to invest time to make money there, so it's not passive. So I don't know. Like that does not tell me that 100%. It's even farming, right? If you have to like go there and like do all like 4 or 5
yeah,
actions before you actually get it, it's not passive, right? Like
I
you actually
guess,
have to
yeah.
invest time.
Well, and in the situation of like but then there's shops, and they have said that like like you will be able to staff your shops, excuse me, with an NPC, which I mean, okay, admittedly it's not passive because you have to supply the shop,
No,
but
that
you
is
don't actually
passive. That
you
is
don't have to
passive.
be there. Yeah, like all you basically have to do is show up and like stock it with stuff to buy.
Yeah, that's passive for sure.
So, so and if you can do that, why can't you have a hotel and
Be-
restaurant? You know what I mean?
because you have to pay dollars for merchantman and privateer.
yeah, maybe
It's passive income for CRG as well.
well, but then again, if you're again, like how are you gonna sell that you can have a shop on a ship, but you can't have a shop on your base that they have said that you're going to be able to make? Like you're going to be able to make a homestead. Why can't you have a shop there? So, and
I
if
don't
that
know.
is passive income, then factory. Okay, so if you're gonna get your factory running, do all you have to do is like show up with materials to stock it? And if that's what you do, and you don't want to actually ship it, can you have it so that NPCs come and buy stuff directly
That's
from
what
your
I'm
factory?
saying. Yeah, that would be interesting. Like maybe for less money
I
or
think it
whatever.
would be, yeah. Like, and again, like I don't really agree with the like really being actively against this sort of passive income, because I think if this quote unquote passive income is managed properly and it's a little bit of a mini game in and of itself, what's the harm? Like if the economy is
You know
functioning
what's the harm
realistically.
with the way the passive things go? People tend to stop playing the game, as in like they start doing it. It's very much fun to like build it, and then you start making money out of it, and it's cool, it's fun, and then you have to maintain it, and then you start having a chore basically there. And then
Yeah.
I've seen that in our games, and then they just like try playing without it, then they figure out they're missing that income, and then they jump to another game. This is a crazy phenomenon with only games that have. And now you have games that like these like passive games on Steam, like Adventure Capitalist or whatever the fuck, where you like you just like click on things and you invest, and then you click on things that give you more money, and then when you are offline, it still keeps generating, and people tend to play it for like 7-8 days, and then just fuck this,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Well, I think I don't know. Again, I mean, it's all going to come down to balance. But
what
if
I'm saying,
if it requires some sort of management,
that might be the
then
reason they don't want anything passive. So
maybe. But
so
then
that you actually have
sell
to
it.
make everything.
But like if you're bored of it because you don't want to manage it anymore, like if there's other stuff to do in the game, then sell it and go do something else, or just shut everything down, and go do your other stuff until you feel like coming back and playing your management, mini game again.
But why not make it active then? Then you go and you work for it for an hour and you earn something, and then when you don't feel like doing it, you just shut it down.
Okay.
And that, literally what you're saying is active, not passive.
Yes, yeah. Well, insofar as like shops, even like I said, like the active component of those shops is hiring your NPC to run it potentially, and then making sure that you're constantly delivering stock that can actually be sold there, right? So even though the income is technically passive, you know, like it's not really, because you have to show up there to make sure that everything is stocked.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm afraid
So-
that some of these things would get too real, like compared to real life
Possible.
jobs, and that would actually press people into not feeling comfortable playing the game.
maybe. But
But then you
I
can always
think
say then you don't have to play it. You know, someone else will.
well, yeah, sort of. And then it's also like, you know, like I think that's where the game design and the balance just really, like, that's what it comes down to, is like if you're making it so that everybody has to do this if you're min-maxing, you know what I mean? But it becomes tedious and it becomes like a job, then obviously there's a problem with that. But if it is something that's completely optional, and you know, and you could, you know, doesn't necessarily, like, here's the thing that I think would throw the balance off is if doing something like this, like running a factory empire or whatever, ended up being like the way that you made fucking billions and billions of credits. Like, if that was the real way to make money, then that means that everybody basically feels like they have to do this, or they're gonna fall behind, or they're wasting their time doing other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if running your factories and stuff like that, you know, and the effort you're putting in there gives you roughly the same amount that you could be earning if you're, you know, running, I don't know, higher risk missions, or who knows, whatever else. So, like,
Well, it
you
would
know,
have to be gradual, right? Like you have to start with
Yeah.
something small to get into something bigger. But then, I think, you know what? Like, I don't like any of these ideas. Like, as an idea, I like it. It's kind of fun. But I feel like all of that is taken away from my spaceship game.
well, but
I know it
that's
sounds
kind of-
crazy, but like that, like I want a spaceship game. You know, I want to
Yeah.
fly ships. I want to.
That's it, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you can just be, I want to play a spaceship game, and then go play a spaceship game and make the same amount of money as the guy who's doing the factory stuff, roughly, you know, then go do that.
If
Like
this
that-
was a game that was already out and I go into the game and there's all these options, I would agree with you 100%. But I'll be honest and I'll say at this point, I feel like that's all the stuff that's taken away from potential time of me playing my spaceship game.
Oh, about them making, like, basically
Yeah.
spending the same amount of time developing it, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because these are all like games within the game, right? The only way I would be okay with that, I guess, if they made my spaceship game
Yeah.
and then like
it was
deliver
good.
DLCs or whatever the fuck, like later
Exactly.
down the
Yeah,
road,
yeah.
and like open
Which is
more
honestly-
opportunities. Like that's
yeah,
I'm
which is-
fine with that. That's okay.
Yeah. That's honestly how I see it kind of happening anyways, but I mean, yeah.
Even
Right
fishing.
now,
I want fishing, okay, but
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
rather have my spaceship game than
Yeah.
wait more because of fishing.
and feeling good and have it be fun and
Yeah.
balanced and like, or you know, like, yeah, I agree with you there. Like that's why when I'm talking about stuff like this, I'm talking about it, you know, as a secondary aspect potentially to the core of what Star Citizen is. Absolutely, I want them to focus on the core of Star Citizen without basically getting distracted halfway through and making a city builder game instead.
Well, that's the problem there because, you know, let's say I never played this game, but I watched someone else plays it. It's very popular 2D. It's like oh my god, it's a okay. Never mind. Let's take World of Warcraft for example. I remember though. It's like it's almost like mixed between Terraria and Minecraft, for example. Like, but like, you know, it's very popular. Stardew Valley. So Stardew Valley is all about like building, surviving, blah blah. But there's fishing as well. And fishing is like there's a little bar and it goes like up and down, and you click in the middle, and that's their fishing gameplay because it's a side thing. It doesn't really matter. It's just fun to have it.
Yeah.
The same goes for World of Warcraft. Like you have this whole game functioning, but then you have fishing in it where you like throw a bobber and then if it goes down you click and that's it, right? Star Citizen, if they're making fishing, it's gonna be a fucking fishing simulator. You know what I mean? Like if they make farming, it's gonna be farming simulator and probably even better. So these guys, they're not capable of just making a simple additional tiny gameplay to make the game feel like it has more depth. No, it
I
has to
think-
be a fucking different game within the game. Like,
Yeah, you're not wrong there, but yeah, I don't know. I obviously have to wait and see, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with them making it complex and interesting, so long as
they make it.
so long as like it's not something that again like changes the whole game. But yeah,
Like, imagine we finally have, flight model ready, like atmosphere, clouds, planets, everything's ready, and then they're spending time making Farmville in game, and then the new cloud tech appears, and you're like, oh shit! Chris just saw like Flight Simulator 2051. Well, he would be that bad then, but 2024 Flight Simulator, and it's like, oh my god, I love this. We need to implement this. And then here we go again. Let's start over with the flight model. Let's start over with the planet tech, version 75.
well,
It's scary, dude. Like,
I guess. I mean, yeah, I'm totally okay with them, with the concept of them continuing to improve, but that because that's like that's why I'm okay with some early access games that are good, like Valheim, for example. Like,
you don't need to be in that state to continue improving. If you look at World of Warcraft or Eve 10 or 16 years ago, you'll see a drastic improvement and change, but games were out the entire time. There's a difference between being unfinished product and making your finished product better. There's a big difference there.
Okay. Yeah, we have different perspectives with that one, but yeah,
Sure
okay.
we do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all this shit could be cool, but I agree with you in that, like, priority, make the game good. Make the spaceship game good, and then, like, I'm okay with the add-ons and stuff like that afterwards. I think that's fine.
There's one thing that I would prioritize before anything else in the game, and I did not talk about this in a while now, I think. Can we have beards in game, please?
Yes.
Like, that's a really high priority.
Yeah. Hair tech is actually on, and that was one of the things that they were waiting for, I think. But
yeah, I remember them
hair tech,
explaining how
on the...
every fucking piece of hair is like physicalized or whatever the fuck. That's one of those things where I'm like, I don't, just give me, beard.
Well, that's like, honestly, that's pretty standard hair tech, I think. Hold on. But I don't think it is every piece of, no. Okay, it's
well, they were talking about it. Like, they were talking about it, and I was there, like, listening to it. Is like, they made it, and then it turned out to be so taxing on the server or whatever memory, and they had to, like, and then they had the whole team.
You mean with, like, Tisha Pacheco's hair? How it was supposed to be?
I don't know, like, but, like, in general, no. This was just, like, hair in general. In the same, like, week or what not, they were talking about, like, female models and different armors and what, clothing and all that. But, like, this was something that, yeah, the hair ended up being a big problem, because right now the models that they're using,
that's a profession. You need to have barbers.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
Maybe barbershop, but barber, I don't know about that.
No. You know how it works here, Chegg. They go all out. It's gonna be haircut simulator.
And you cannot be a barber unless you went, into school for it and have 2 years experience in real life. It's the only way you get the barber license in game, and you can actually make haircuts to other players.
Yeah, and it's fully simulated.
It's in
each
VR.
hair. Yeah, it's in VR. Yeah, you have to buy special controllers, special scissor controllers,
like
to
CIG goggles and scissors.
Oh
With
yeah,
the sensor.
CIG branded. Yeah. Yeah, marketing team just goes with it. Yeah.
It comes with the ship.
Oh yeah,
LTI.
definitely. Yeah, there's an Endeavor haircutting module. Okay, that's enough of that. It's hot up here.
We don't have any questions, so
Nope.
well, what you said, I just want to reiterate that and make it like maybe more simple for those who are interested. Like, we're gonna try and go through last episode and check if there's any questions that. I mean,
oh yeah, right.
we answered them, especially Masos. I read everything. I do not answer everything, but he does in the comments.
I don't set that expectation. I try to.
Well, you answer a lot of them, and what we even the ones that you answer or we answer, we can still bring up a good question or conversation into Q&A section in the next episode, and I think that's kind of a cool addition. Except for some days we're 3.5 hours already. If we're close to 4 hours, I don't think we're gonna go through that unless there's something really epic or.
Yeah, you are right. It's starting to get to a point where we're more and more people who are kind of watching regularly are just catching us on YouTube and doing the comments. So yeah, instead of the Twitch things, if you guys do have questions or whatever, yeah, we're gonna throw them in the comments and we'll try to get to them kind of on the next episode. Just cut us some slack at first though, because we
need to turn it into a system, forget. Right? Yeah.
I'm probably gonna forget, but I'll try.
Once we have it in the whole mechanism, it's gonna become a regular thing.
Yeah. Or I suppose the other thing we can talk about this, I guess, off air as well. But when it comes to questions, like you already pointed out, if there's just interesting conversations that happen, we can talk about those in the QA sections instead. But yeah.
And don't worry, we're not going to mention your names or whatever, although they're all public on our YouTube channel. But unless or if I don't know. I don't even know if that matters.
No, I mean, we read out the posts in Twitch. I guess it's different. I guess in YouTube, a lot of people have the real names.
Yeah,
but not everybody.
Maybe if you want your I don't know. We'll figure this out.
If it's a real name, maybe we'll just do first name.
Something like that. Yeah, we'll make sure that we're.
Dave from Seattle asks.
Yeah. All right. You want to sign us off?
Yeah, sure. Anyways, if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for sticking around. Throw us a like if you like this stuff. Subscribe if you like kind of long form podcasts. On Wednesdays, we also do a Stanton Gossip section, which is kind of just a half-hour blurb about cool content that we've watched or drama going on in the community, etc. But yeah, like I said, like and subscribe if you like it. We just do this for fun, so it's not really serious or anything. It just kind of makes us feel good. And if you do have kind of commentary about stuff that we've talked about, throw them down in the comments. I oftentimes will try to pop on and just see if there's cool conversations happening before I go to work most mornings.
It's fun to see reaction, man. And lately we've got some really, really nice comments, and it makes my day as well. I wake up and I check those comments first thing on my phone, and sometimes just helps me start my day in a better way.
Yeah, a lot of times there's actually just fun stuff to talk about, so I usually will just kind of like to carry it on there. But yeah, I guess that's it. It's really hot. Let's go.
Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Wednesday when we do our Stanton Gossip, which is a shorter variant of more of a media cut of what's happening around in Star Citizen content creation. With that said, have a great day and week. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.